Another opening. What'd you guys think?
I love that, dude.
That was pretty great.
We could just watch that for the next 2 hours. Just listen to that music.
Yep, exactly. So everybody, how's everybody doing? How you guys doing in the chat? Welcome to another Nerdporial stream. Today we're talking about Volume 2 of Stranger Things 4. And I'll be honest, I know we all have different opinions here, but I really enjoyed it. So once again, everybody, welcome, and let's go around the horn. What's up, Corey? What's up, Salty?
I spent the better part of today, and I may hold an opinion that may not be popular, but I mean it authentically. I still love this show. I'll just say that and park that there and let you go to the handsome gentleman next to me,
Jed.
Yes. So today's been a very busy day. I had to put out my review for this season and my review on geeksandgamers.com. And then there was some drama with Geeks and Gamers in the salon. So it's been a busy day. So I'm glad to, just chill with you guys and talk about something good. And I'm really looking forward to our discussion.
All right. What about you, Steve? You're the prophet.
Yeah. Hey. I guess I'm going to be sort of this.
Mr. 1K. You're Mr. 1K.
Yeah,
he just submitted. This guy just submitted his YouTube paperwork.
I was actually just going to check, see where we're at in that, but thank you. Thank you much to everybody, including you guys. I'm at work and all these things are going all out of Twitter, and all of a sudden I'm like, what just happened here? So I was very honored and taken aback and sort of speechless. So thank you, everybody. Yes, 1K, hopefully monetized soon. We'll see if they allow me. We'll see. Right? I don't know. But Stranger Things, you guys, I think most of you guys know how I feel about it, at least especially this season. I think rather than I'm not gonna I think I hold a similar opinion to Salty. I love the season as a whole, but we'll get into these 2 episodes. I think probably I think the thing that is going to be best about this, it sounds like, just from being in the back in the green room, differing opinions. So I'm looking forward to discussing it and having some fun. I think the resounding agreement is that we all enjoyed it, though, for the most part, I think, but we'll see. So
I agree. What about you, Gray? Welcome.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I was trying to get this watched last night before bedtime for me, and I enjoyed it overall, but it was a little bit too long.
All right. Okay. That's a very interesting take. Well, we have another guest. We have a wild Zax just showed up right here.
Oh my God! Look at this guy. Oh my God!
Environment.
I know.
Hey guys, my channel is under attack.
Yeah, we're all toxic. We're all toxic.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
But hey,
is it really?
I'm here.
Wait, is it really? Dude, I slept all day. Is it really? Did you make a quartering style?
I should do
thumbnail?
that.
Come on.
I should do that.
Did what I miss?
Nothing yet, no, but I'm thinking about it. I want to get canceled soon here. Yeah.
Yeah, you will.
It's the dream.
You will. Yeah.
Somehow my stream survived the night, so I guess I'm invincible.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
Happy
Famous last words.
Happy Canada Day, by the way. You have such a wonderful leader of your republic up there. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, it's not really a republic.
Whatever it is. Canada.
Dictatorship?
Yeah. That's it. That's the word I was looking for.
Jesus, Salty, 5 minutes in and you had to bring up politics. That's a new record, isn't it?
No, it's Canada. I'm not bringing up politics.
They don't count.
Fair.
Yeah.
So what about you, Zax? What'd you think of the last couple episodes?
I have not watched it yet, so I don't know. I'm going to watch it tonight. Yeah, I'm willing to survive some spoilers. It's fine.
I don't think what we're going to say, except for one thing, I think, is, and you all know what I'm talking about with Vecna. I think there's only one. That's the one thing. And when it starts, what happens to Hawkins? Which I was on the edge of my seat for. That was genius.
I was worried that they weren't gonna go through with it. I was worried that they were going to kill Vecna, and then the general dude with that has Owens in custody. I thought he was going to be the final villain. That's what I was worried they were going to do. I was worried they were going to Game of Thrones this. I'm happy they didn't.
The hard thing about talking about episode 8 is I'm trying to grab onto things that are landmarks. Because if we talk about episode 8, for me, what was the runtime on that? 2.5 hours, 2 hours? What was
episode 8? It was an hour and 16 minutes, I believe. It was
that's
75 to 80 minutes.
To me, that was the weakest episode of season 4, and in some ways was worse than any episode of any season, maybe other than I'd say the second one.
Yeah, we were.
I very much disagree with that.
See, we're not an echo chamber. Tell me why, Jed. Tell me why you. I really want to know, Jed. Why do you feel differently?
So, I did enjoy the first part of the season, but I thought it was way too slow, too dragging, too much setup. But the setup that was in episode 8, because that one was kind of still in that same vein of all setup, slow pace and whatnot. But it was set up in the final preparations, and so the anticipation of the finale was strong enough with everyone's interactions that I was able to get pumped for the finale. It might have helped that I watched it at 2 times speed. I watch everything at that, so maybe I am missing some of that. But yeah, for me, I didn't feel any dragging. I was just ready for it to go, ready for it to the final episode, and the 8 was just great for hyping me up for that finale.
See, I was already there. Like, I thought 8 should be running towards the conclusion, not more setup.
That's what I thought too.
I think that 7 was a good place to stop. We were all ready. I think I've talked to pretty much everybody except for Jed. Jed, we hadn't spoken yet, but a pleasure, by the way. But I was ready. I was hyped. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's get there. Let's go. Let's start getting these guys together for this final confrontation, and let's rock it. Now, I do have to say, we're not doing spoilers, right? So I'm glad the Russia thing stayed in Russia for the most part.
Do you think it's over? Do you think the Russian subplot is over?
Yes.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think I've been wondering this for 4 seasons. Are the Russians going to come through the Upside Down to invade America? Which would have made the most sense in the world to me, especially as a Cold War kid. Is that what they were trying to do? And it looked to me, almost looked to me like they were trying to hybridize, not the face huggers, but the what do we call them in the show?
Demogorgons.
Like Demogorgon soldiers. Yeah. Like, because that's what I would have thought. And part of me wants that. And I guess we're not doing spoilers yet, but I can still see that happening.
I definitely think the Russians are coming back, especially because they haven't fully explained how they were able to capture all the specimens that they had in Russia. Because in season 3, they made it very clear that nothing was able to pass through the gate yet. It was just open enough that the mind flayer's mind could get through. So if that's the case, how did they get dozens of Demodogs, Demogorgon, and a piece of the mind flayer into Russia?
So if I remember correctly, season 3, what was left of the mind flayer came to life because the Russians opened. Or made an opening in the I can't think of it. Opening to the Upside Down. Okay, that makes sense.
Well, and weren't they using that high energy drill weapon thing that was trying to bore a hole? And and look at Cosmo James. He says we should have this conversation. Maybe not now, but soon. Is Cosmo James says the Eddie was the best character.
I hated him in part 1, but part 2, part 2, yes, he was great. I loved him.
Really? No way.
Wow.
I loved him.
He was just obnoxious in part 1. But his arc, like the start of his arc, throughout his arc, I grew to like him more and more, and especially by the finale, I was like, oh my god, not Eddie.
I mean, so I loved his arc. I loved his character arc. Like he started off like, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He witnessed something he shouldn't have, and now everybody's after him. So what happens? Well, he runs away. He's in hiding. He's scared, and then he witnesses another murder. Yeah, and then he meets up with Steve and Robin and Nancy, and then they go swimming into the Watergate. They go into Watergate, and then they have that little bat fight. And he's like, and he says right away, he's like, I was not going to go after you. They went after you first.
Yeah. I mean, it's a satisfying character arc. It really is.
Yes.
I mean, and here's the thing. I mean, like I'm not going to play the old man card, but it's like, I did go to high school in the 80s. I was in high school in 1986. A lot of the archetypes that you see, I knew kids like that. I knew a kid like Eddie, and arguably I was a kid like Eddie to a certain degree. But the thing about it what I liked was, like Jed said, you really didn't like him for a whole lot of reasons, and he was all over the place, kinds of squirrely. But then I think it paid off with that hero's journey where he just like, I got to stop running. And the dude was running from an abusive childhood, poverty. How many times did he fail high school? To graduate. I knew kids like that in high school. They used to fail kids all the time. And there was one kid that I knew that failed senior year twice because of drugs,
Oh.
So yeah.
I think I'm stuck on Salty's idea that he brought up there with the idea of the Russians coming through the Upside Down to invade, and that they could use that as a jumping off point for a completely divergent timeline, right? And have this
That's where I'm going.
I love it.
And there was a woman, oh God, it's up in your comment section talking about Chernobyl, because
Nikki
that's
Cunningham,
what,
I think
Nikki Cunningham talking about what happened in April 26th, 1986. Do we think this is an accident? Because maybe the Chernobyl thing could be directly tied to them invading America.
I love it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Maybe. I like the alternate timeline. I really do, and I wish.
I mean,
they could. I mean, some of that,
do you think? No, now that I think of it, if they did another season, that would be, if they did a season 6, which they said they're not. They're ending it after season 5. Season 6 could be, they would obviously adapt or take ideas from Red Dawn to, do a Russian invasion, but through the Upside Down. And maybe the Russians have their own weapons. So you see in the Russians have their weapons. Spoiler alert. So Hopper and Joyce and Murray, they go further into the jail, into the Soviet jail, and they find, like, it made me it was very Resident Evil, maybe Resident Evil vibes, like they were like, demogorgons and demodogs, and like these and like they look like back to tanks. They were in like big giant tanks and stasis, and then there was one tied to a table, and it was, and then we see an enclosure of the matter, the dark matter that makes up the mind flayer in there. So
I really hope they're not gone, because I'd love to know how you guys all bring up great points. I'd love to know how they got all that stuff, especially the mind flayer particles.
Yeah.
How do you trap that? How do you even go about that?
Yeah.
It's just dumb luck. It would have been nice. So I hope they're not gone for, plus another antagonist for maybe they're the distraction for the US military. So our crew can go about what they actually need to do to save the world type deal. Right. So I hope they're not gone, just because I'd like to know everything you guys have just said.
So I had a question. Do you think the United States has been harvesting demogorgons the way the Russians have? Do you think there's like something more to it than just Owens and his
I
his
think
group?
there is. I think that's part of the motivation for that general who, there's obviously factions fighting within the United States government, which arguably did happen in the 80s because of, for a lot of reasons. And then we were also doing something called low intensity conflict, which was fighting communism in Central America. Anyway, it's messy, but all of this stuff, including stuff like the Iran-Contra thing, like all of these programs with one side of government secretly running something and the other side, like, it all makes sense to me. I mean, I wonder where these writers are going to go, and I hope they continue their brilliance. I really do, because I would love to see some weird time travel or dimensional shift where we almost get like a Kyle Reese throwback of one of the main characters who comes back in time or comes from an alternate timeline somehow to warn them not to do something or something like that. That would be amazing.
I'd be really worried about them dipping into that territory, because it takes a lot of talent to do something like that right, especially when it isn't set up initially. I mean, like Doctor Strange, we saw how well they did multiverses there.
Well,
multiverses
fair.
are very, and other timelines are just difficult to get right. And I just think it's better to avoid, because normally when writers dip into that territory, it's a sign of laziness or a running out of ideas. So I'd be worried that that would be their motivation behind doing something like that. So like if they can pull it off, absolutely. But initially I'd be highly skeptical if they decide to go into that route.
I get that. One of the reasons I brought it up was yet another homage to 80s horror science fiction, where we've gotten so many horror things. I thought maybe, Terminator to me is a horror science fiction movie. So I thought, well, why the hell not?
Yeah, I mean, he's just like, I mean, you think the Terminator is a lot like Michael Myers. Michael Myers is robotic. If you ever watch the original Halloween, like just the way he gets up after Jamie Lee Curtis stabs him in the closet, he just gets up like a robot. And I always think of Terminator. I always think of Data, the way they just get up right away. It's crazy. But yeah, same idea. It's a slasher.
Take a look in your chat at Nikki Cunningham's. It's LOL. Mark my words.
Yeah, she melted my brain.
LOL. Mark my words. Season 5 ends at the start of season 1. The Demogorgon from season 1 is 11. That is. Wow, that's an interesting theory. That's a very interesting theory.
Well, mark her words. We got to put a mark on this for the end of season 5. We'll have to come back.
I'm not going to forget this. If she's right, I will bring this up again.
Yep.
I will.
Yeah,
I will.
Yep. Well, we'll see where it goes. Hopefully, we won't have to wait 3 years. We won't have to wait 3 years for this next season.
Oh God.
No.
Guys, the opening scene in the lab here was so cool, wasn't it? I thought, as you were saying, like Resident Evil vibes and so many like horror film vibes from the 80s. I got Japanese horror vibes from this as well. It was so cool, so creepy.
Yeah. Let's start from the beginning. So where we last left off, Nancy was caught in Vecna's controller. I don't even know what to call it. Like Vecna's realm or something. Vecna's realm in her mind or something. So she has the glassy eyes. So she's running away. She's trying to run away. She witnesses everything that 11. She witnesses. She learns about 11's history. That's how everybody else knows besides the audience. Well, we're learning as she's learning. So the one thing that he didn't want to kill her, because he doesn't need to kill her. Apparently he only needed to kill 4 people to basically open what is ultimately a big giant cross. It's like a cross of gates or of openings into the upside down all across frickin' Hawkins, Indiana. So let me see if I can. Let me say.
Speaking of that cross, I saw a tweet that someone was trying to say that it was in the shape of a certain symbol from Germany.
There was crooked. It was slightly crooked, but still.
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
They're like, oh yeah, it's a parody. The Yahtzees are the same thing as the upside down. It's obvious. I'm just like, you're
insane.
That's look on your keyboard. It's called a plus symbol, moron. That's not a swastika. It's nuts.
What is happening?
Exactly.
Good Lord. Like, why? I don't know. You have to be looking for this stuff. I mean, I didn't even think of it. It's like, it's just, hey, the 4 freaking gates that are strategically placed opened up to make one giant gate that happens to be an X. Like, that's it.
It's more plausible your French toast is going to have like a stigmata of Jesus Christ than it is that they're going to have a swastika in a Netflix show. Look,
actually, this morning, Salty, you won't believe it, but
I know. You're getting all the saints all the time.
The Yahtzees are going to start crawling out and take over and reunite the Russians and the Americans, and
that's how that works.
And there was no warning before the episode, so it can't be that. I mean,
that's true.
If you look hard enough, you can find anything in anything, can't you? If you really want to look that hard, Jesus.
Yeah, there you go. So this is so basically Vecna wants Nancy to tell 11 that this is going to happen. Even though I don't think she actually tells her. I don't think she actually tells her.
That's what I was
I'm like, okay.
Well, they're not together. They're not together.
Yeah, I guess it was just sort of like they didn't expect. I guess Vecna didn't expect them to do what they were doing. That's why he's sort of like, hey, I expect 11 to come back. You're gonna be my messenger, and then of course she never has the chance. But she's no right now.
Alf Jebus is accurate. Swastika is actually an ancient Hindu symbol, and I thought it was for unity, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
So-
that sounds right.
No.
They reversed it. The Yahtzees, they reversed it and trying to change its meaning or its power. So
This was a creepy scene with the
Yes.
partial.
This was cool.
The partial evisceration? I think it's an evisceration. With this
Yeah.
mind
Autopsy.
flayer on a table. Yeah, but it was still alive, and they're poking around at it. That thing was pissed off.
Yeah, I'd be like super duper, like I would be like I'd be against the freaking wall or against the freaking curtain.
Yeah.
Where is it? There's let me see. There's
Oh,
all the
there it
right
is.
here.
I just want to say real fast, in this scene, I was half expecting to see, a Jedi youngling frozen in amber in the background.
I was waiting for a different type of a creature we hadn't seen before that might have just been in scene. That was an Easter egg, but we didn't get it.
Those aren't mini
maybe for
Snokes.
season 5.
Okay,
I don't remember.
Scene
I don't
four,
remember
right?
that. Sorry, I don't remember that being in any Star Wars movie. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
That looks like an alien's head, doesn't it? A Giga alien head on that.
Xenomorph, total
Yeah.
xenomorph.
Yeah, cool.
I always
That's something cool.
equated the xenomorph to the way the mind flayer looks with that long elongated head, or at least I think it's a head,
Mm-hmm.
which we find out was designed by Vecna himself. Spoiler alert.
I'm trying to think back to season 3. Didn't they have tanks of some sort in the underground mall thing?
They had
Sort
a
of like
big
that?
cage. They had like big cages that it was 9 feet tall. So they said, how tall is the Demogorgon? They were implying, they were planning on capturing Demogorgons.
Okay.
But
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So here we see there's like a little chamber here, and there's all this dark matter, this mind flayer matter moving around, and that basically is, I believe, what causes. So ultimately, what happens is somehow this gets loose. I don't know how, because what happens is they leave and then they come back. So they leave in this episode and then they come back in the next episode.
Yeah, the general said what happened. So the original Demogorgon that they were fighting in the pit got into the room, and when the soldiers shot at him, it broke all the cages and all the suspension tanks.
Oh, that's what happened. Okay.
Oh yeah, you didn't hear that part? Yeah, the Russians. Yeah, that's why the guy. I think that's why the guy the originally was so adamant for them not to shoot for this exact reason was they started shooting things, and then boom, now you've let everything out, and then are we to assume the mind flayer went into the other Demogorgons or people? 'Cause
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
thinking
That's what
people.
Murray said, was that it was in the Demogorgons.
Is that another assumption that the mind flayer didn't decide to go into a person? I mean, we're
Murray's
finding out.
Yeah.
We're finding
Vecna-
out that the characters think they know a lot
Yeah.
about what's going on when they really don't know anything about what's going on.
There's a few times
So
that does
I
happen.
wouldn't be surprised if we see a Russian show up mind flayed, maybe eventually. I mean, that could happen.
It's true.
Yeah.
I keep waiting for the Russians to have the same program that the Americans did with like 11, and to have some
Russian
type of a
superpowers.
fight. Yeah, like some Russian kids that they've messed with. So
Mhm.
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, and look! I have someone named Salty Texas C sent a super sticker for $1.49.
it's popcorn.
Thank you. Oh, it's popcorn. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't. I'd have to go into my YouTube
Popcorn.
studio to see it. Thank you. All right, and all right. So this is like, what do you guys think ultimately of the Russian storyline in this in this series?
my
Definitely better
favorite.
than season 3. Season
Okay.
3 plot.
Yeah,
You talking
Yeah.
about the series as a whole?
Yeah. Well, no, just the season 4.
In this season, much better.
I mean, I just don't think it was executed very well. I guess I like what they're thinking on some points, but it just like I don't know. Everything with Hopper just seems like
The
weird.
Hopper stuff
I
got
don't know.
boring until like he was like doing something. So
I
like when he
wanted
tried
to-
to escape, like Steve McQueen,
Yeah.
I wanted
that
it
was
to be-
cool. And then of
Oh,
course when they fight the Demogorgon in the arena, that was cool. But everything leading up to it, like when they're having when they're eating, like when they're having that feast, that they're giving them that feast so that the Demogorgon can feed on them. I didn't quite get that, but hey. But a lot of that's everything else was kind of dull, in my opinion. With
My bigger problem with it is that they weren't explaining very much, and what they did, they didn't do a very good job with. Like Hopper's, the way he survived season 3 is ridiculously stupid because he just jumps down a little bit to the same level where we saw those scientists get evaporated. Why did they get evaporated?
I think all of our ideas that he jumped into the Upside Down and ended up in Russia on the other side of the Upside Down or something.
That's what I wanted.
I think all of us sort of said that, and I know we're picking this apart, even though I think most of us enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it's not perfect, right? So I think all of our ideas that he jumped through the gate, and then somehow the Russians got a gate somewhere else, or I don't know, something would have been better than him just I hid down here and I didn't get zapped. It was I'm right with you, Jed. It wasn't very satisfying at all.
But yeah, with that setup for that whole plot line being sand, there was no foundation to it. I had a lot of trouble with it because there was no logical consistency or through line through that whole arc because of that.
I said it before when we talked about part 1, but isn't it nice to talk about something first of all that I think that we all love, that we really liked, but these are the small elements of it that we wish were different, and we're not sitting here going, oh my God, the ham-fisted ideology and the intersectional feminism and the identity politics. What we're doing is we're nerding out, and it's fun to nerd out. There are things that I would change about season 4, and honestly, nothing from part 1. I was okay with it. I wish Hopper would have ended up in Russia and the Russians actually saved him but made him a prisoner or something like that. I agree. My problem started with this in part 2, and it has to do with pacing. I think all of the story was there. I do. I just think they needed an editor to pull 30-40% out of these last couple episodes and to maybe have just something in the middle of these 2 long episodes that is just going to blow our mind to show us what's coming in the next season may or may not be real. And I would have said this season was an absolute masterpiece of science fiction, but that's nitpicking.
Guys, going back to the Russian storyline, I enjoyed it more this season than the last one, but do you not get the feeling that they're kind of portraying the Russians as comedy villains in a way? It was all kind of tongue-in-cheek at times, apart from the scenes with the Demogorgon. I mean, that fight was pretty cool, but the Russians are kind of like, I don't know, I just couldn't. Well, you're not supposed to take it seriously, but they were playing it for laughs, were they, or what?
Yeah. I think they did that in season 3 as well, but it definitely seemed like they were more
in 3
intimidated by their mere numbers, not by their competence.
Right.
Well, I mean, there was what was his
communism.
name that drank the what was the name of the guy that drank the Slurpee? I keep forgetting his name. The one that loves Slurpees, the cherry Slurpee guy.
The engineer guy.
Yeah, the engineer guy. You can't. They kind of made him kind of like cartoonish, like, oh, I just like Slurpees, and I'll join you. I mean, so that was kind of.
I'm a genius engineer, but I'm the biggest goofball on the planet.
Of course. I mean, there's a little bit there's some believability to that because in the beginning of the season where we see the Russians initially in episode 1 of season 3, they're like the scientists there are all kind of like they're there like kind of they're kind of in duress, like they're like being threatened to do good, or that Terminator Russian dude's gonna murder them. The Terminator Russian dude murders him anyways. So that was a very sad thing. So, I mean, that's why I think he was happy to not be to be in with Joyce and Hopper instead of with the Russians.
When are you going to get into spoilers? When are we going to let people know?
We're already talking. All
right. Okay. I didn't know. Well,
Zax is gone too. So
Zax is gone too. So I mean, there's a big spoiler that I want to bring up, and that's: do we think that Papa is actually dead?
Yes.
I think so. He dies like on screen, like he literally goes. Ugh.
They were shooting him with a Browning in the 30. I think it was a Browning, that 30-06. When you get hit with that, there's a lot of big pieces that don't stay in you. So
he shouldn't have been able to turn off the collar or whatever. He was done.
I would have rather had her tear it off. Like, I mean, she was there, right? She was doing stuff with it on. She should just whack and take it off.
There it is. But that
He's
scene
come
with the
back-
helicopter, that scene with the helicopter was fantastic.
That was the
It
best thing in episode
Wow.
8. Yeah.
Yes.
That was really good.
Great
That was
finale.
really good. Yeah.
Just
what
took a
I
long
thought
time
was
to get
gonna
there.
happen as soon as he got shot. Since he's died so many times, I thought they were going to make it so clear that he was dead this time by having like the general walk up to him and shoot him in the head, just like
That's
he's
what I thought,
dead
too.
this time.
That's what I
And
think.
I think that would be the
There
only way
it
to
is.
know for sure.
Yes. Boom! God, yeah.
What a
Yeah,
scene
yeah,
that was. That was
yeah.
dope.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was awesome.
I was just like, this was like the only time in the episode I was like super duper like invested. Like I was just like, come on, 11,
Yeah.
do it, just do it.
Yeah.
See, this is when episode 8 pulled me right back in, because I was drifting for a long time with them screwing around down there and where everybody was going. But once this started and once they attacked that underground Nina base, I was all in. I was 100% in. So
I mean, at least the only thing I have to say is at least they're doing a lot of work respecting time and distance in this show. You know, for pieces, like it's like for some pieces they're fun. It's like, so like, I mean, it took Mike and crew a long time to get to Nina. It took Hopper sort of shows up out of nowhere. I don't know how long that is at the end, but you know, whatever. And some of it's like, I feel like some pieces they got it right, and some it's like, okay, that doesn't quite fit. Does that make sense?
yeah,
It's definitely
Yeah.
better than
Yeah,
the
makes
last
sense.
2 seasons of season 8 or Game of Thrones. I mean, there was no distance in Westeros in those final seasons.
The
Yeah.
Westeros
Zero.
Express. Like I don't know if I said this during the stream, but did I say this during the stream that I was worried that they were going to pull a Game of Thrones with this season?
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Well,
right.
there were no Starbucks coffee cups in any of the shots, so that's a vast improvement over the last 2 seasons.
You forget
at
water
least-
bottle. You forgot the water bottle too.
That's true.
Yeah.
Will you pull up She Loves Luna, because I want to see what you guys think about this. You have a hell of a smart chat, Nerdporial.
Because
She
they're
loves
Better
Luna.
Call
She
Saul
loves
fans
Luna.
too.
Yeah,
Come on,
look.
that's why.
I wonder
Look
what
at
happened
this.
to Argyle at the end after he was looking for mushrooms. At the end, he just disappeared.
Ooh, that's a good man. I didn't even think about
Yeah,
that.
See?
he wasn't standing with them on the hill at the end.
Yep. And that's where I'm kind of going with that other dimensional or something else, or who the hell knows. Like, a time slip something. That's what I
I don't really
want.
like him, so I'm okay if he just ate mushrooms and died out in the woods.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Which one?
Like, oh, he's dead. Sorry.
Harsh, Jed.
Well, it could be funny if they just start season 5 and he's just off wandering around in the forest looking at stuff because he's tripping on mushrooms. It's like, dude, look at it's like. I mean, that's basically how he was the whole season. He
Wait
comes
a
up
minute,
with
though.
these gems of good ideas, but he's really just messed up out of his head.
We
He
didn't
was
see him, guys,
Spicoli.
but we saw the
was Spicoli.
surfer pizza van pull up at the end, didn't we? We didn't see him driving it, I know that, but we saw that arrive right near the end, so I guess he was driving it.
Yeah, did he come out at all?
He didn't come out. No, we didn't see him.
Oh, we didn't see him. Okay. There were so many characters I completely I nearly forgot about. I did like though in episode 9 where he kind of stepped up. He's like, I know. He's like, they're like, hey, we need to make a chamber, or not chamber,
Sensory
sensory deprivation tank.
Yes,
He's
sir.
like, I know exactly what you need, and he just like, come on, let's go. He's like, hop onto it.
Yeah,
And
mind
just,
fight,
they just go to another pizza, another surfer. What's it called? Surfer Boy Pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
had a
was
couple
funny.
questions about that. Was that a freezer that they just unplugged and filled up with water, or what was that big?
Yeah,
tub
it was a freezer.
That was an
That was a
80s.
freezer.
It was
a
an
freezer.
80s commercial freezer.
Yeah.
Okay. And the salt. I've worked at fast food places, not pizza places, but do they really need that much salt at a pizza joint?
I think
Seems
that's-
insanely excessive.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, probably, especially
Yeah.
for all that dough. I mean, there's a lot of salt in that pizza dough. So
Hey, you want people to come back and order drinks, right? You gotta throw all that salt in there.
Fair.
Heart
Very
disease
fair. Yeah.
doesn't exist.
Hypertension. No, it was the 80s, man. No. that
Yeah.
didn't.
In the 80s. So what did we not talk about episode 8? Everything was just kind of like building up the they go to like the army store, like
yeah.
Dustin and Nancy and all of them. They go to the army store. I think they steal this RV first.
Mm-hmm.
they steal the RV, and then they go to Warzone. One of the few times you see, one of the few times you see, I keep forgetting her name. Erica she's scared of that this dude right here, Captain.
Yeah, the bully comes back into it here, doesn't he?
Yeah,
He's
the captain of the basketball team, and he's just as tall as Nancy. So I'm
Dude,
okay.
I don't know if this guy's working, the bully guy, but he needs to be working. That guy, I thought he did a really good job as just being, his de-evolution from Prince of Hawkins High to psychopath, basically, right? I mean,
yeah.
I didn't love his arc or his portion in part 1. I felt like it was just very bloated, but this part it just kind of got to the point, and I really enjoyed him and his portion in part 2. But part 1, he was just in it way too much.
I'm grateful they didn't forget about him. Like if this was other franchises that we will not name, they would just forget about him and like, oh yeah, we set up stuff not to pay it off, but here they pay it off. I loved ultimately what happens to him.
Well, the other thing I liked about this is in the 80s in America, like I got my first rifle when I was in the 3rd grade. I used to have to go to hunter's safety class and take shooting classes in elementary school.
Oh, really?
And
serious? No way.
And you may have noticed nothing bad happened in that regard. Just a thought, but it's just I like how they showed that firearms are just a tool, and I really like that, and that Nancy knew how to shoot. Most people knew how to shoot because in the 80s they did.
She's a badass this season. I've always liked Nancy.
She becomes a badass, doesn't she? Her arc was good in this season.
Yeah,
she's just casually committing felonies, no big deal.
Well,
is this a felony or is this legal? I think it's a felony. Whack! It's like, all right.
I was gonna say sawing it off, and she's the one who empties the 5 shells into Vecna when Vecna is on fire. Dude, that scene was off the chain.
It was. I totally wanted Steve to cap it off, though. I wanted that axe somewhere to come and just like I wanted to put the axe in him or something.
Maybe that's what knocked him out the window.
Yeah.
Steve coming in with the axe.
Yeah, something like that. I just want to see like Steve get in there with something. I wish he made his baseball bat instead of an axe too. I want to see his spiky bat.
Yeah, we haven't seen the baseball bat in a while.
Not
we haven't seen it since season 2. I don't think season 2 was the last time I think we saw it. They need to bring it back.
Oh yeah. It's his signature weapon. I love Steve, and him and Nancy together were so good in season 1. I'm glad they're kind of opening the door back up to that because he's my favorite character in Stranger Things. Like he's gone on such an incredible arc. He was a bit too stupid in season 3. I think he was just too much of an idiot and useless. But
he was kind of like that a little bit in volume 1, especially in volume 1 a bit.
Well, but I think that's the best part of just him in was it episode?
Dustin.
Which episode? I don't know him talking with Nancy as they're walking through, just basically acknowledging is like I was an idiot. Just he basically just saying, yeah, you know what, I've evolved over this, and partially it's because you freaking you told me I was an idiot and showed me I was an idiot, and I'm just growing.
Well, I mean, she actually dumped him. She dumped him, and that's why. And then that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, his evolution sparked from that. Just like, hey, I'm Steve Harrington. I'm the greatest, and it's like, well,
that's another character with a really good arc from season 1 when after they steal the RV and he basically bears his soul and tells her that he always saw himself with like 6 kids riding around in an RV. And then later tells her that it was her that he thought about that with. I mean, that's a hell of a place to go.
I was so scared he was going to die after all of that. Everything. Oh no, they're setting him up.
Yeah, so that was another redirect. That was another redirect from the writers. Because that's because everyone's like, oh, people. There was so much huge speculation about Steve dying, like the last couple of days.
That's whose everyone money was on, but. I love that speech he gave, the thump on the head, that backstory too. Like the idea of him as a baby, as soon as he gets a thump on the head, he'll figure things out. And it's just a great bit of backstory for him. It wasn't just some neat throwaway exposition. It was heartfelt, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. So did you guys see any? Did you guys see any Star Wars parallels in this particular episode? I saw a couple. There's a couple that come to mind. One involves Nina, this little module right here. I think Levin had her Yoda moment where she just uses it and lifts it up and moves it back down.
I can see that. I can see that.
Awesome.
And then he says, and then of course Papa, Brenner says, "You're not ready." He's like, "You're not ready." Once again, it makes me think of Yoda. It's
nobody wants Empire. Nobody wants a Brenner action figure. They want Yoda, not Brenner.
Yeah, true. And of course, there's when the military comes in and they bust through the door. They bust through the door. Where is it? I'm trying to remember. They're trying to bust through the door. It made me think of the beginning of Star Wars. Made me think of the beginning of Star Wars.
It was. I thought the same thing.
With the Tantive, security. The Tantive security basically. Waiting for the stormtroopers to enter. It was kind of like this, and then they all died. They basically all died by the invading force.
I really wonder if we compare the shot composition side by side, because that exact same thing, Nerdporial, went through my head. I thought this is just like when they're breaching, and Princess goes and hides, and R2 and 3PO run through the laser fire. That's exactly what I thought too. So.
Yeah, and there was one thing that did happen before this we forgot to talk about. So apparently Brenner kind of did a little coup against Owens. So Owens is obviously his boss, and Owens is willing to. 11 does not want to continue. So what's going on here is Brenner wants to continue the testing or the training or whatever. I don't know what you'd call it. The training to make 11 as strong as she can, because he still thinks she's not ready for Henry or 1. So and she's like, no, I want to leave now. I have to go help them. And then Owens goes along with her. Owens like Brenner, let her go. And then there's like then somehow Brenner gets the security to kind of detain Owens. So Owens is handcuffed to the wall, and that's why he's still that's why he's in custody with General, what's his name? I can never remember his name. General Sullivan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sullivan.
Sullivan. General Sullivan. So he's there. So Owens survives. So Owens going to come back. Owens and General Sullivan are going to come back next season. I'm curious in what capacity, but that was an interesting little development here. And then of course that leads to Papa and 11 right here. Kind of, he's confronting her. He has the door locked, and she tries to unlock it. And then he hits her with a syringe. Like, I think it was an anesthetic or something to knock her out. And then she wakes up and she has the shock collar, I believe, around her neck.
I thought it was an explosive one, but I could be wrong. I always went to the.
I think it was the same shock collar. I think it was the same shock collar he used on the other kids in the
that one. Okay. Yeah.
That's why I thought it was. And then
it shocked me. I thought she was going to get away. I thought she was going to walk. So when he stabbed her in the neck with that big ass glass syringe, I was like, "Whoa!"
I know.
I thought she was going to kill him. Like I was like, but they both fell at the same time. You see the shot of them both falling at the same time. She falls from her thing, and he falls from her, flinging him into Nina. So that was really cool. And so at the same time, the U.S. military, or General Sullivan's men, are invading. He takes her to the top, and then of course that's what leads up to them getting sniped. Let me see.
Can I just interject something? Remember how we were joking about doing my channel is under attack? Well, someone who was on this panel and then left just put out a video saying my channel is under attack, and his name is Zax. So. Anyway,
Zax.
You want to know where the grifter's from? It's from Canada. Go ahead. So, yeah.
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 So yeah, this is the part right here that made me think of Star Wars. This also made me think of Rogue One a little bit too. So not just the original Star Wars, but Rogue One, especially when they're waiting for Vader to come out of the to come out right here.
Yeah.
They're actually taking cover too. How about that?
Yeah, novel thought.
Yeah.
So we're not watching Obi-Wan, are we? Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And of course,
Obi-Wan.
these guys are the stormtroopers here going in, shields and all. See, so they're chasing them up the stairs. They're outside, and of course, that's where the helicopter gets in, and then there's 11 doing her thing, and we already showed that. So that was basically this was basically the end of episode 8, and I just loved what we saw. Great, I love the shot here. I love the cinematography. I love the shots.
Oh yeah.
No shaky cam like another
God.
Star Wars
So
show.
sick of shaky cam.
A lot of this episode 8 was almost shot like you were supposed to see it in a movie theater. You know, and I've got, what do I have, like a 70-inch whatever 4K, but man, I would have loved to have seen this like in a movie theater just because of what you're talking about, the shot composition and even the long shots. They left a lot between in the foreground versus say if something was coming up. Like you would have appreciated that more on a movie screen, but yeah, it was cool. This was shot really well.
Yeah, you would think like someone like Stanley Kubrick or Spielberg shot this. You know, it's just that great. And here, just look at this.
Look at this. There's so much going on there. There's just but it's not overwhelming. It builds us layers, or it is organic, especially these desert scenes. It's not easy to shoot in light like that. And you can tell they were probably trying to shoot at dusk and dawn, but because of the heat and the glare.
Some good old fashioned pyrotechnics too. I mean, like, you know, it's not. It's like I know CGI right now is getting a bad rap, but CGI is a tool that everybody just isn't using properly, and it's nice. You know, there's obviously a lot of CGI in this too. The Demogorgons look freaking real to me, so I'm good with that. And it's like, okay, well, we need to blow up something. Let's get some crap and blow that shit up.
I'll tell you what, the desert in Stranger Things season 4 looks better than anything they've done in the last 3 or 4 Disney Star Wars shows.
It looks like Tatooine.
Which all took place
this looks like Tatooine.
Exactly,
Jeff. It's a better Tatooine. Yeah, it's a better Tatooine.
Well, they didn't film it on what are those sets called? The weird
circle jerk something. Technology.
The worst invention
the donut of dumb. Something like that.
Donut of death, God.
It's cool technology. It's just not ready yet. It's not ready for blockbusters.
Yeah. So here we see 11 basically telling Mike and the rest of them what the hell's been going on this whole season. So they've been completely cut off. That's one of the interesting things about this season is that they've been completely cut off from what's been going on in Hawkins, because there's been no contact, no nothing. So because now she knows what with her thing, now she knows what's going on with them. So that's why she wants to go and help them, and that's why they have to leave. They're like, we can't get there in time. You said, they respect the fact that they're 2,000 miles away.
And it's the 80s. You know, and you know, like flights back then, it was still a big deal to go to the airport, and it costs a lot of money, and they're unaccompanied minors, and you know, it's just a logistic thing. And then there was no magical,
cell phones,
like
radio.
Yeah, well, I mean, they didn't just, you know, the government employee just didn't happen to be hanging out that woman, you know, like ready to be a plot contrivance. It's like, all right, we have to write within the era that this thing took place. So.
Yeah, helicopter just drops and grabs them. It's like, let's go. It's like,
The other thing was the amount of damage they're doing to these kids, and especially 11 with Vecna, is so much more escalated than the last couple of seasons. Like when she's fighting Vecna and she's in the saltwater pizza cooler sensory deprivation tank, she was getting her ass kicked. You know, you could see it.
She's choking because of the vine that was going around her neck.
I really believed that was happening to 11, and you could see it also in Will, in Mike's face, and everybody else's. You know, like it was really convincing that all of this was happening. You know, and so when I talk about the pacing of these episodes, it has nothing to do. The story is a great story. It just
Yes.
needed some editing.
Yeah,
I love the entire world building of, or especially world building of Hawkins, like especially with this whole, Creole estate and this whole, backstory of, what going back in time to the 50s.
Murder House. So cool.
Henry
Murder
Creel
House,
and his father Victor and all that went down. I mean, I thought that whole storyline was just super duper
How did
freaking interesting.
Did I miss it? How did the jocks figure out they were at Murder House? Was
They
that
followed
just
they followed the RV.
No,
there was
walking his dog. Saw what's
Okay,
working Erica in the toy and the flashing light in the murder house, and apparently the rednecks connected to the jocks.
Yeah.
Okay. I missed it. Sorry, because I didn't miss it. I figured there was something there.
That guy walking his dog, Oh no.
He like gave them a strange look, and then the jocks got a call right after that. So.
Okay.
We used to have factories. We used to have factories in the 80s where guys had pretty darn good paying union jobs that looked just like that. So, redneck maybe, but also that was a pretty big look back in the 80s. You saw a lot of guys in bars, that
Guys,
had,
Napoleon, there was one scene you showed there. No, don't worry about going back, but it's going back to the 80s references and knowing people like this. Eddie's his fingers were covered in heavy metal rings. Do you remember those silver rings that everyone used to have? That period. It's like, I just knew someone like that.
Oh man, Eddie.
Really?
Oh god, I love Eddie, man. I'm sorry. He was freaking great.
I did too. Sorry,
dude. I wear this metal ring all the time, dude. So I mean, some of us still do it. Yeah.
What band?
This is the Aragorn band. Actually, this is the
Aragorn band.
Oh, that's Aragorn's ring. But I've got a skull one too. But yeah.
Okay.
Aragorn.
I wonder if
Go ahead.
I wonder if I miss out a lot in the show that you guys are talking about, like the references, because I wasn't born into the turn of the millennium, so I really didn't get a lot of the stuff you guys are talking about. Like if I had like people I knew, like Eddie, I can see why you guys are so attached to him and whatnot. But there's a lot of references I don't get whatsoever. So I wonder if that's affecting my critique of.
Eddie's just like I get why you might not have liked Eddie, but he's just the eccentric, idiot, for lack of a better term, because I don't think he's really an idiot, but just he's eccentric. He's not good at school. He's stuck in school. He's into fantasy D&D, and he's just like over the top character because that's just his thing. So, and I knew people like that too. So it's one of those. I get where you're coming from, but I immediately latched onto Eddie. I was just like, dude, this guy's my dude right here. Plus, Outcast, heavy metal, freaking just he
grew on me. I initially I was like, is this guy a jerk or what? But he eventually grew on me because he like they said, like they I think was it Dustin that says that he was like the only one that befriended Mike and Mike and Dustin and Lucas is also part of the Hellfire Club, right? He just stopped because he started playing basketball,
trying to hide it.
Trying to hide it, but he was the one friend because they lost Will and 11 to they lost Will and 11, and of course Max is completely alone. Like she went through season 3, lost her stepfather left them, so it was just her and her mother, and and then 11, her best friend 11 left, and so there's who wants to hang out with Lucas? Let's
talk about Max,
because I hated her in seasons 2 and 3. Like she was so obnoxious, she was so ridiculous. So she was a bitch, honestly, most of the time in seasons 2 and 3.
She was.
But season 4, she had to be vulnerable. And that's when you started to connect with her a little bit. And by the time Vecna's control started in the graveyard, I was like, all right, I actually like this character now. And then in these last 2 parts, her self-sacrifice really put her over the edge for me. I love her character in the season now. I can't pinpoint what they changed, but I seriously hated her in the previous seasons.
I think she, like I said, I really think she also had her own hero's journey, because her maladaptation was to be kind of a bitch and then closed off because, she felt insecure about herself because she had her abusive brother, her abusive stepfather, her drunk mother. It was a shit life. Eddie, his dad's a fuck up. His dad's like a criminal. He lives in a trailer. He's a drug dealer. I knew people like this. I was from that same socioeconomic low-level background. You know, I saw kids like this and they coped with it exactly like they're doing in this show. So is it something because here we are 40 years later, you don't see that anymore? I think there are still people who are in those situations who will still probably do that. It's maybe not as common, but this to me, again, I'm bringing my personal experience into it, but this hit what it was like to be a kid in a small working class factory town in the upper Midwest, in the 80s. And I knew kids like this.
Well,
I did.
She's dealing with. I mean, yeah, she had her trauma before, but we didn't get much backstory. Yeah. We know, a little bit about it, but then a lot happens to Max between 2 to 3, and then to where we start with her in 4. I mean, just dealing with watching her brother, and then realizing, well. I maybe I didn't hate him. Maybe I understand him a little better now. It's like maybe I'm just as wrong in my relationship. She goes through all these emotions, and man, this is a come out season for her. I mean, the actress too. She's gonna be all over the place.
Sadie Sink, yeah. This was really. I loved this. I agree with you guys. I felt that she was very insufferable the season 2. She's just completely she wasn't very likable. She was just mean, and
especially in season 3 with 11. That part was like, oh, you don't need them. Fuck them. I'm just like, no, fuck you.
Yeah, imagine that teenage girls being making no sense and being cruel. I agree with you guys. It's nuts, right? And then I think what's wild is, I mean, Max's hero's journey was so compelling to me that I felt so strongly. Now, in the first part of the season, when I didn't think she was going to make it out, when Vecna was busy crashing big hunks of masonry around her, and then what happens, and we haven't even touched on it. There's a major spoiler. I didn't see it coming. I didn't see what they were going to do to her. And I literally screamed in my living room, and I was yelling, "No, not fucking not Max."
I was frozen, man. I think if I had a camera on me, my jaw was probably on the floor. I couldn't believe, especially that coming right after Eddie. I'm like, how many are we gonna lose? Because I thought she was gone. I thought she was done.
When they broke her arm, I
thought it was over.
Like, oh my god, sorry.
Some of the characters and the audience may be happy that she survived, but it might be a fate worse than death, because she's crippled, she's blind, and she said she couldn't feel anything. So I wonder how much of her nerve damage, is she going to be paralyzed completely from the waist down? With all that, it may be far worse than actually dying. So it's a very interesting way to take the character.
Well, on top of that, what do you guys think about the fact that 11 basically went searching for her in the hospital room? Did her whole mind meld thing and couldn't find her. She was in a coma. She went in to sort of find her and be like, "Hey, we're here. Come on, you can beat this thing." And she's can't find her. It's just black. She's gone.
That's why I think she's gonna maybe be an agent of Vecna or something, or she really did die.
What if you think she's still psychically linked to Vecna and trapped?
Or Vecna took her because he was so damaged by what they did to him.
I don't think she's so much blind as I think she's still trapped. I don't think he really released her. I think he was in the middle of doing his mind thing with her and never separated. That's when they freaking nuked him. I think they're still psychically linked somehow, and she's still trapped.
May still be inside of Vecna.
Yeah, I think she's still trapped.
That's exactly. Well, because she's not there. I mean, what I think happened, and maybe I'm wrong, but 11 simply resuscitated her, made her heart,
her body
go back. Your body.
But where's her soul?
She's in Vecna's head, I bet.
Yeah. Well, that kind of goes with the theory that I was telling you guys backstage, is that her death was what caused the gates to open, and so her life may be the best way to fix it. So that might be one of the big finales of season 5 is rescuing her mind from Vecna's and then getting it back to her body, and that way she can wake up, and that'll close her forth of the gate.
Chief edits. Vecna's not. If you think Vecna's dead, you're not paying attention.
No, Vecna. The will confirm Vecna's alive. Yep. We plus the body's gone. he gets blasted out the window by Steve and by Nancy. Nancy blasts him out of the window with the shotgun, but his body's gone, kind of like Michael Myers, Halloween.
Let me bring up two things.
No body, no death.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
exactly.
Let me bring up two things. Number one is let me say hello to OBG70, Mike, who's in the chat. The second thing is, what if they're going to do with Max something like they did with Sigourney Weaver's character from Ghostbusters? Because we have not had any Ghostbusters at all in this season where Sigourney Weaver's essentially possessed or taken by Zool. Now, is that crazy? Like Vecna and Zool are very different, but I'm trying to jump on the 80s horror movie.
Yeah.
So I hope not, because they Willow was already taken over and sort of playing the sleeper agent. So I hope they just sort of we get some scenes of Max and she's maybe in Vecna's memories and doing sort of a mind trying to escape his mind by maybe exploring Vecna's past a little bit. Maybe being in his memories and screwing around in there a little bit, thinking maybe I can get out. I mean, I like to see that. I don't know if that's going to be an 80s reference at all, but I hope they don't do that, because we've already seen Will. And Will, that's I feel like that's Will's area, his psychic link to what's going on in the Upside Down.
I forget what was his role. Like, what did they call him? What, he was the wizard, or
he was a Dreamwalker.
Dreamwalker.
Will the Wise, is that?
I forget what his
in the first episode 1 was Will the Wise, and he was a
Will the Wise. But in season 2 they called him something when they figured out that his connection. He had a nickname too.
They called him a spy, but
no, they had like a D&D reference.
Yeah. When they're talking about the Mind Flayer, I know what you're talking about. I'd have to go look it up. I don't remember, but I think Will is going to be huge in this next season, because he's got an inside track, but I don't want to get off on a tangent. I don't know. Did you want to talk about Vecna? I mean, I know you guys were all sort of.
Let's talk about Vecna. Let's talk about the one and only Henry Creel himself. Let me see if I can find. Where's Vecna? Where's a good shot of Vecna?
That Conan Barbarian scene though with the sword.
Oh god, that was
Hopper and the sword, man.
I saw the sword. I'm like, where did that come from?
Thank you. I was just gonna say, where the fuck did Conan's sword come from?
No, it was
a Russian prisoner of war camp. I thought it was just me.
Well, it was a blatant reference.
Where did it come from?
It was a blatant reference, but I'm believing that's supposed to be one of the tools.
It was one of the weapons sold to that they let them choose.
Oh, was it? They let him choose Conan's sword? Okay.
Well, that's why
one of the guys had it, maybe.
Because they gave him the spears and all that stuff. It seemed like way too good a weapon.
It was awesome.
Like,
I don't care.
I was looking at that.
Yeah.
Wow, where's a freaking...
I was waiting for him to rip off his shirt and do the flex. It's like, all right, what are we doing?
Yeah. Hopper, what is best in life?
Grabs voice. It's just like.
I don't even remember.
How much is Vecna real, like physical, the character? When you see him wearing the makeup, how much of that is physical? Do you think practical? How much is CG?
A lot of his physical. It's
like he was
behind the scenes.
Yeah, he was like, how long did it take him to get all that stuff on? Like 6 hours?
Oh, easily.
God, it must taken so long.
The moving parts on him, like when you see the stuff moving on his.
That's it.
Probably the only CGI on the dude.
Good to have a physical presence.
Think, Joyce should have been a little bit more worried about her kids, or is that a?
Oh no, is that Max? Jesus, Max. When a leg snapped. Oh my god.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
I don't want to see that again.
No. Yeah. Ned Poria, what you doing, man?
I'm trying to look for the sword. I'm trying to look for the sword. I can't find it.
Oh, God. God. No.
Great horror.
That's going to haunt me.
That's a great shot right here.
Yeah,
that's
a great shot.
That's scary shit.
Yeah, it is.
Crap.
Yeah.
Was that big claw? Was that CG? I couldn't make it out if it was practical or not. His big hand, his weird claw. It looked.
Some of it was
unreal
mechanical. From part one, it was practical for part one. I don't know about this scene.
The slithering, like this, the moving stuff is CGI, I believe.
Yeah,
like the moving vines on his body, I think are CGI. I think the claw is real. Chief
Edits says that he thinks Will is the next target. That's the question. I mean, does Will have an ultimate hero's journey? Like, which is the main character who has to sacrifice himself? Will anyone have to? I still think I really thought we were going to lose Steve. Yeah. Mike was the heart, but like, who are we going to lose in season
Steve and
5?
Will, I put money on both of them.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Steve, come on, stop putting Steve in the line of fire.
I don't want him to be. He's my favorite.
No. Steve is going to live. All right, Steve is going to live. I don't know. I mean,
maybe they're postponing his death. Maybe he's going to die in the next season.
He has to tell Nancy that he loves her, and she has to say that she loves him too before they kill him.
What do we think about them?
It has to happen.
So what do we think of? Oh God, why can't I remember his name? Will's brother.
Jonathan.
Jonathan sucks, man, in this season.
Well, he's stoned. He has no character, man. He's like,
what if? So we can lose Jonathan. So what if Jonathan dies and brings Steven and her together, and Will goes freaking nuts because he's the only because Jonathan's the only one that sort of understands him at this point, and then Will just goes full on bonkers. I mean, I like that better because Steve gets to live. Steve gets the girl. Steve gets to have his 6 little munchkins and go on his road trips after the world saved. That's what I want.
I felt at the end of the season when Nancy is standing next to Nancy standing next to Jonathan, like right here. Like, luckily I found it right away. It just feels unearned. Like, come on, like they were avoiding each other. Like, it seemed like they were setting up her and Steve to come back together. So
they were. You know,
he looks so disgusting too.
Well, he does. He's been smoking dope for California.
That's Charlie Heaton in real life. He would just he'd go to premieres high. He got arrested a few times for having drug possession.
Well, and they're a real couple in real life, aren't they? These two.
I thought they were.
I don't think so. I don't know.
I thought they were.
Maybe they are.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jed, you're right. Yeah, there's no chemistry at all between them, is there? That's really lacking. You can feel it between Steve and Nancy, but Jonathan and Nancy, I just don't get anything from them.
Okay, I have to ask this question. Do you guys like pineapple on pizza?
Hell yeah.
No.
Hell yeah.
It's horrible.
Hell yeah.
It's an abomination of life.
I'd rather use the pineapple for
Steve.
I hate it. I can't stand. I love.
You can't see his face. We can't.
I love pineapple. All right, I love pineapple. Like, I'll eat a whole, but on pizza, man.
I'm trying to get, because that's the one thing that Argyle does. He makes them pizza while they're
disgusting.
Maybe I just haven't got one, but it's like I got a good one. Maybe it's just all like crappy ones.
It's just wrong, man. It's just wrong.
Every time I've tried pineapple on pizza, it's like gets all soggy and it's just like
Canadian bacon, pineapple, and jalapenos.
See, that's the other thing. They put the fake bacon on it.
That sounds good, actually.
Fake bacon on with pineapple. Why is it fake bacon and pineapple?
There's no fake. It's Canadian. There's nothing fake about Canada other than their elected premier or whatever his name is.
Canadian bacon is just ham. Just call it ham. That's all it is. Come on.
You know, George Soros's bitch up there in Ottawa. But, yeah. I wasn't mute. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. Yeah.
It's fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
L approved. Yeah,
yes.
Right here.
Yes. And Chief Edit said Natalia Dyer is dating Charlie Heaton. It's true.
Okay, there we go.
I knew that.
I don't think Elle is necessarily a source for good food. I mean, she thinks Eggos are the best thing ever, and she's been eating prison food for most of her life. So
this is true.
I would not make her take on good food.
What's wrong with that processed goodness?
I love Eggos, but they're not the hot shit like she makes it out to be. She's just not a good source. She's just not a good source.
Hashtag stop Eggo hate. Come on,
guys.
Hot
shit.
Hashtag stop Eggo.
Guys, what's the name of the stoned pizza chef, the driver as well, the long-haired guy? I forget his name. Argyle, thanks. Yeah, I love the scene where he's actually making the pizza dough. That was cool. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Like, that was that was the one useful thing he did besides freaking out, and it was basically the joke. Him and Jonathan were kind of jokes.
Yeah.
I actually liked our guy. I liked. I'm curious if we're going to see him again next season. I don't know how other fans have received him.
What was up with the mushrooms, though? I mean, like it wasn't just a throwaway. It wasn't just a throwaway.
No,
it's almost like it's almost.
They deliberately pointed it out, didn't they? They really made a show of it.
But are they going to make him another D&D archetype, another character, you know,
Those
to
were,
add that the party didn't have, you know?
They're going to make those like upside down mushrooms, and he's just going to be wandering around the upside down high so much, and he's just going to wander into the final battle. He's like, Argyle, where have you been in all this time? Oh, they got some sweet shit down here, bro. I've been down here rocking
You might
the
be
upside
right.
down.
So if he walks into a battle, is it going to be like Jar Jar Binks, where he gets like, where he stumbles into victory? That type of deal.
Harry Potter. Listen to me on this one. Remember in what was it, the last Harry Potter movie, the part 2,
Deathly Hallows?
whatever. Yes. In what was it, Neville? Remember how Neville, in the middle of all that battle, he got his ass kicked. He gets up and goes and finds the sword, and then he's the one who kills Nagini. And it's like he walks like he's in a stupor. When you were talking about that, Nerdporial, I could see them doing something like that, where this stoner can walk in the middle of this battle because he's in an altered state of consciousness because of the psychedelics, and maybe Vecna can't get him.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
Wow,
Nice.
yeah, that's a
For
great.
the final battle,
mushrooms
they
are the
all
key.
smoke a doobie, so Vecna can't get them, so they're all high in the final battle.
Yeah, dude.
Magic mushrooms save the world.
Mushrooms save the world. Drugs, gotta love them.
Sounds good to me. Sounds
To
good
the
to me.
side.
I love it.
So let's talk about Vecna himself. Like, we learned quite a bit about Vecna. So Vecna is actually the one that masterminded everything from the very beginning.
Nice shot.
He basically created the he basically molded the Mind Flayer in his image.
Really happy with that reveal. I wasn't quite happy with him just being the general for the Mind Flayer.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I
this-
the intelligence
yeah.
behind the hive.
See, I didn't really ever believe that. Like, everybody kept telling me that, but he just gave he gave the air of being the man. Like, and then we sort of, I think that's another lesson we have to learn. I think they're sort of dropping breadcrumbs and I think I said at the beginning of the stream, our heroes think they know a lot more than they actually do. So we take a lot of what Dustin says as fact.
Gospel.
Dustin was speculating. So
and Dustin was speculating that Vecna's the general. He got it wrong. Vecna's the man. I mean, I would hazard to guess that he went into an undiscovered dimensional space, and the whole upside down is Vecna's creation.
Yeah. And what if there's some type of a deal the Russians have worked out with Vecna? Like, I'm waiting for this Russian invasion thing. I really believe somehow this is going to happen.
After the criticism that happened in season 3, I don't think they're going to, because that's what a lot of people hated about season 3, and that's why they downsized the Russians so much and changed their path. Because initially there were rumors that was going to be the plan for seasons 4 and 5, but they got so much backlash for the Russians, and I kind of agree to a certain extent, especially the way that they portrayed the Russians up to this point. Like, if they'd set them up better in the last 2 seasons as a formidable opponent, I could see them being the final or semi-final threats. But at this point, they're just too goofy.
We got 2 good Russians now with families, and
I still don't trust the smuggler. I still don't trust him.
Well,
Yuri.
Yuri.
I know we're sort of talking about Vecna, but I found it sort of weird they went right back to the church. I guess we're just to assume that the jail was too busy getting killed to find them again.
Everybody
they didn't know that.
Dead. Yeah.
What do you mean?
They didn't know that everyone was dead. They thought the military were still hunting them.
Right.
So
well, that's why I found
one place
it's
the
like
military.
the one place they know that they've been before. Let's go back to the smuggler.
That's true.
They were a little busy. They were a little busy, though. Let's be honest. I mean, they had some time, you know, but yeah.
The Russians were busy, but the heroes didn't know that.
So that's what he's trying to say is the heroes. It wouldn't make sense.
Why'd they make that
to go
decision?
there? Because the Russians,
peanut
one
butter.
place they would go. Well, that's true. And jeans and clothes, right? Yeah.
Hulk Hogan t-shirts.
I got a question. I have
risk, I guess.
I have another question for you guys. Did you guys think that there was I was just thinking of this now. Do you think that the Demogorgon and the Demodogs died too easily against the flamethrower? Because it seemed like in season 1, like they were trying to burn it, and lighting it on fire didn't damage it much.
So who do you want to go first? Let's so we're not talking over each other.
Yeah.
Let's Salty.
Oh, so here's what I think. They were in those formaldehyde tanks, as far as I'm concerned, they were fucking dead. Okay, so they weren't exactly at full strength. So I'm going to give some latitude on that, but you're right. Murray going all shish kebab filet mignon on these guys. At the same point, I think only one of those creatures probably would have been at full fighting strength. So I'm okay with it. It didn't take me out of it.
Yeah. What about you, Steve?
Oh, well, I sort of have the same opinion as Salty. I think he took the words out of my mouth. Those are malnourished. They haven't eaten anything. They've been just alive. But I think they died too easily, and then we're also supposed to believe that the mind flayer's in them. So I don't know if the mind where did the mind flayer particles come into all this? If the mind flayer is in one of those even if it's just one, one of them should have fared a lot better than even if the other ones just died. So
and season 3 showed that the mind flayer knew how to reanimate corpses and repurpose dead body parts, so he could have just gloped it back together and made a super demogorgon or something out of the burned remains. That was the whole big villain of season 3.
Yep,
was the rat gut monster.
But because they haven't been in the upside down world, do we think that probably there was no way that they didn't have the connection to it? And again, this is deep nerd. I like having these conversations. But as opposed to that sucks, it's woke. But it's like, do you think maybe that had something to do with it?
So refreshing.
Open, though.
I know, right?
The portals have been open for a while, so like that's the mind flayer's connection is live. I mean, Vecna's got 3 portals open. I would think that even if the demo dogs are depowered, which I can believe, like I get it, like except for the one who's been eating and doing all the things, right? The other ones have, like you said, been encased in whatever they're encased in, and then so I can believe those guys sort of went down easily. But there's 2 things that I think the main Demogorgon died too easily. I agree. And then where's the Mind Flayer? Where is the Mind Flayer at?
Well, and additionally, they've implied that the Demogorgon fights had been going on for a long time at this point, but that doesn't necessarily make sense because the gate only reopened in the last couple days, weeks, and season 2 established that if you close the gates, all upside down creatures die on this side. Like all the Demodogs went full Phantom Menace and died when the gate was closed. So how were they having those cage fights or whatever? How are all the Demogorgons alive in Russia if the gates weren't open between seasons 3 and 4? Not sure how all that works out.
Yeah.
This is where I went with the sort of genetic experimentation or hybridization that I thought maybe the Soviets were doing.
Maybe they're building them. Yeah. Maybe they're making them. Maybe these aren't upside down.
That's what I thought too. Initially.
Maybe they're clones. Like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to make a Snoke reference. Sorry.
You mean like Rey Skywalker and Palpatine? Those guys.
They're mini Palpies. They're mini Palpies running around.
Hail to Tim's talk. Hail to Tom Forsyth. I think I agree with you. The evil quarterback trope, the evil athlete trope. I was an athlete in high school. I was also on the debate team, and I was also a nerd and a ne'er-do-well. So you can be all 4 of those things. You don't just have to be the evil jock trope. Although I knew some really big dickheads.
Yeah. They're there.
Yeah.
Guys, as OBG saying in the chat, he had a bigger problem with Hopper killing the main one, the big one with a sword. When it was established that the prisoners would have 0 chance. What I thought is that he'd already been burnt, hadn't he? He'd been burnt and burnt, and then he was weak, the big one. Right. So but I still enjoyed it. I know what you're saying, OBG. I got it, but it was a dope scene.
It was.
What did they think they accomplished other than surviving? Like, I feel like that was like, oh, we did it, and I'm not sure how that was a help to anything going on with 11 and Hawkins and Max and all of them.
Well,
they went back. So but did it do anything? Because there didn't seem. Yeah, I understand they're saying it's a hive mind, but then so they were not explaining where the mind flayer is out and all this. So did they just kill the mind flayer by beheading the Demogorgon?
That's the same time that Vecna had the weakness in the Upside Down when 11 attacked him, and he, you could see it because the timing of the shots in Russia with what Hopper was doing, it seemed to affect him.
Yeah, it
So-
synced and
okay.
it helped
That
with
was
like
all
free
synced and
Nancy
linked.
and
Yeah.
I'll watch it again
because
because I
Vecna
wasn't
consciously. It wasn't Vecna who was consciously trapping Steve, Nancy, and Robin. So I took it to be that
Look at that. Oh.
Hopper was freeing
Oh.
Steve and Nancy.
Wow.
Oh, is that okay? Okay.
That is amazing. I don't care if it's CGI or not. That is fantastic.
So
That's
beautiful.
scary as hell. I mean, there's
Really
teeth
impressive
everywhere.
for a TV budget.
Terrifying.
It looks
Yeah.
really good, doesn't it? Oh my goodness.
God.
Like just seeing that like bite someone's head off is just like one of the scariest things you can ever imagine.
Well, and he's pretty beat up, so I could see how he like looking at him in this picture. He is that Demogorgon's seen better days.
Yeah, yes,
the Russians
he
did a
has.
number on him too.
Mhm.
Should we start being really nerdy and ask, like, come on, how can this thing even see? Where's its eyes? Come on.
Teeth.
Where's its organs? Oh, no, that's comic books, isn't it?
His teeth are
I
his
think they
eyeballs.
established that it's an echolocation in season 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, nice one.
Yeah.
How did Hopper make it to Hawkins so fast? Was it?
It was a
wasn't it like a
2-day
3-day?
jump.
A 2-day
Yeah, it was a
jump.
2-day
Okay.
jump,
Yeah.
so they can fly
Yeah.
from Russia to Hawkins.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah. I mean, the helicopter
Especially with
probably
the
made it.
government help.
It made it to the Bering Strait. Once it got on the Bering Strait, there are numerous military bases in Alaska.
Yeah.
Once they got there, could put them on a C-130. You could be in California in under
Well,
10,
and
12
the,
hours.
the important thing is, I think that's why they included the phone call to her. I don't remember
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
name, but that
Yeah.
phone call was, I
Yeah.
guess, I think to facilitate them getting back so fast. Because once
Oh,
they
yeah.
got into America, it's like, all right, you got to get back to Hawkins. Let's go.
Mhm.
It's on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, one thing I
Oh.
did want to talk about with this plan, I love their
Wow.
plan, and I love how it all turned out and what it sets up for season 5, and I hope they feel the guilt of this. But do you guys think that it was a good idea to go through with their plan, because it really didn't affect all that much? They were at a standstill with Vecna with Max's music, so he either had to groom a new victim or Max had to stop listening to music. So if they just had her keep listening to music, they could have met up with Hopper, Joyce, and 11, and they all could have planned and maybe had a better assault that might have worked better the first time around. Like, I love how it all worked out, but their plan at the end of season 4 was a failure, an abysmal failure. And though Eddie's death was dramatic and good for his character, in the end it might have been near pointless. So, like, what are your all thoughts on that? Like, it's very much an Empire Strikes Back. They did not win this, even though they
No,
kind
they
of
didn't.
hurt Vecna. But it might have been better if they just left Max with their music for a little while longer.
I think they had to do what they did. It just didn't work out the way they wanted to. I mean,
think-
they had to distract the bats. Otherwise, they would have not ever got close to Vecna. You know,
Mhm.
I mean, and I get where you're coming from, Jed. They did fail, but at the same point, that was the only play they had.
Yeah,
You know?
I think that's the big thing is we have to remember that we as viewers know everything else that's going
Yeah.
on. They have
Right,
not
of
been in
course.
contact with 11 or Mike. They can't find them. They have no idea. They even say their phone's been busy for this long. That's weird. So they have no.
Yeah.
11 is gone. Dude, they don't know what's up with 11. She's out of the picture. Joyce and Hopper aren't even a thing, and they're at this point where it's like, well, yeah, I guess we could wait and have a few extra days to figure out, who's being going to be next. But at least at this, we have a level of control. So while they failed, I think thinking from a character standpoint, I think Salty's right. I don't know that they had any other choice but to do what they
It
did.
definitely makes sense for the characters, especially what they had. Mine, I was more hoping that they talk about it in season 5, like maybe like someone's wrestling, like Nancy, especially since she was in charge, wrestling with the guilt, and she's like, "It was my call. I made this call that we did this,
I agree.
and I got
I
everyone
agree.
killed, and it did nothing." And,
I agree.
But like from their perspective, I agree. It was the only play they had. They didn't know what else was going on. So like I agree with all that. But it's just as long as they like talk about it and
Survivor's remorse type deal, yeah.
Yes.
acknowledge the fact that it was a failure.
Yeah. I think where they left us at the end of the season, they may not get to that, or it may be a scene when they're getting their ass kicked and they're talking, when they're in what we think are their last moments and sort of confessing their sins or what they wish they would have done. And, I think you're onto something though, Jed. You're right. I mean, she made a command decision. I mean, with the best available data, and we're also talking a 19, 20-year-old girl, a woman,
Well, and this is what they've done every season prior. They've always been able to, scrap together a plan as kids and beat the bad guys. So based on their frame of reference, they're more than capable of doing this. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Well, and that's the end was very telling that, Mike straight up was like, she's never, I don't think really any of them have, when it comes to this, lost. It's always worked out. And this is, that's why it was important, and I'm glad that they lost.
Very Empire Strikes Back. What a downing ending, wasn't it? Like she didn't complete her training like Luke. She rushed back to save her friends, and it was cool.
Well,
and go back to that. That is incredible.
Wow. Yeah, what a finish.
The thing I'm really worried about destroying this ending is the Duffer Brothers said that they're going to do a time jump to age up the actors since the actors do not fit the age they're playing anymore. I don't think a time jump can work after this big cliffhanger. Like, what do you imagine? There's just a giant gateway and in the middle of the United States, and no one does anything for 5 years.
I don't know.
Unless it's an apocalypse thing, like I talked about, or maybe there's a time jump or an interdimensional thing or something like that.
I don't know.
Sorry,
it would have it would have to. No, I'm glad you said it because it would have to be that because the Upside Down is here. I mean, they got the particles floating everywhere. For them to do any time jump, even a few weeks. If it's progressed that fast over 2 days, what is it going to be in a week? What's it going to be in a year? I mean, it's done.
Everything's going to be dead. And I mean, isn't there going to be like? Do you guys think there's going to be an invasion, an army, like an army?
That's what I was thinking too. Or Russians, or the Russians, or again, that's why I'm like, you could go so many ways with this, where the Russians launch World War III and it's an alternative timeline. Somehow somebody comes back where a different decision was made, or can move through a phase, because what has to happen is Max has to not die. Somehow they have to prevent that from happening. And I don't know. I mean, I get, Jed, like you said, that trope. I get it. But at the same point, there's no way to undo what they've done here, And this is going to very quickly advance. So if you're going to jump a couple of years, they're literally going to be at Wolverine stage with, like, the world essentially depopulated or, a smoking nuclear ruin. Where the hell do you go with it? You can't put up a wall and stop this.
I'm wondering if.
So you think this is going to spread further? Do you think this is going to spread further?
Oh, hell
absolutely. Yeah.
I think it's sort of. I'm wondering if maybe her being alive and in a coma is sort of like keeping them from coming through, like because
I did mention that in my review.
Bats would be coming through or something. So maybe this is slowly building a perimeter and sort of terraforming that area of this, and then you're going to start seeing stuff sort of maybe crawl out a little bit, and they can only go into their upside down portion of Earth. I don't know. I'm just
but it's a good idea.
Maybe it's Max Link that's keeping all that because he didn't completely win either. She's alive, so.
Yeah,
I have another theory on that. I think the reason why we haven't seen much outside of this, we haven't seen like whole armies invading, is because I think Vecna's in a weakened state and he's gonna bide his time. He's gonna bide his time and then build his army, and then they're going to launch an invasion. And then I think this is where the General Sullivan's troops are coming. They're going to be cannon fodder.
Yeah,
or monster fodder. Excuse me.
Well, it'd be nice to see him coming begging to 11. Sorry, go ahead, Sullivan.
No. I was just going to say, and Chief Edits has been dropping some really great observations in this. The captain of the basketball team, I don't remember his name. He was in the house. He was in the house when essentially that's where the rent, to the upside down, that fourth one opened up, and he was right in the middle of that.
Yeah, he got cut in half. I was like,
yeah.
And that's what I was asking is, did he die? Or did he become a minion of Vecna because he's a coward? Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, that's interesting. It makes me think of Stephen King. Remember when the balloons blew up in blood?
Yeah.
That's something that Pennywise would do.
And it's like, I'm just wondering if we, that guy because it would be an interesting ironic turn that this guy who was so, Onward Christian Soldiers, D&D is bad, Satanic Panic, is suddenly serving Vecna, I mean, that would be an interesting thing. So.
Here, what are you?
Is this it? I think
this is brutal. This is brutal.
Oh, I missed that.
Right
Holy
he did.
Oh my god!
Well, hold on. Is it getting sucked through, or is it just cutting him in half? Because
It looks like it's just cutting him in half like butter, like hot
He's
butter.
half dissolving as well.
He's
Wow.
dead. He's
He's definitely
really dead.
Oh, you didn't see this?
No,
you missed
I
this part?
missed
Yeah.
this. There's no Darth Maul coming back from this one, man. His ass is dead.
Are you sure, Salty?
There's the
What honor.
empty
You
rib
never know.
cage.
Wow.
You never
never
know,
know.
man. I mean, you're dealing with dimensional magics here. I don't know. They
Yeah.
could,
Yeah,
this
come
guy
on.
did well enough as an actor and a dick that I don't know. He could come back as some
I miss
ghastly
this.
thing.
Jesus.
I don't know.
One of Vecna's minions, yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
I like the idea, Salty. I don't know.
think it's a
think
great
it's still on the
idea.
table.
I hope they do. Now I hope they do it. I
Mhm.
hope he becomes a minion. Because have any of you guys read It or seen the It movie? Well, not the new It movie, but
Yeah, the old one.
The Tim Curry?
Tim
the old,
Curry, classic.
the husband of Beverly goes after her. So like they get into the fight, which was not in the original movie, was in the new movie, but he doesn't go after her in the. It's weird, but in the book he goes after her, and then he becomes a minion. He becomes one of several minions of Pennywise. So they're like pseudo villains that are just like under his control. First, he had Henry Bowers, the bully from childhood. Then you have him, the abusive husband. I could see something like that happening. I mean, there's a lot of Stephen King in this season. I mean, freaking I don't know how much Stephen King you've read. I've not read the book I can't think. What's his name?
Lucas was reading it to Max.
Lucas
wasn't he,
was
in the
reading.
hospital?
Lucas was
the
reading
Talisman.
The Talisman, which is the first of two books. The Talisman and then Black House, which are more recent books. It's a
He wrote those with Peter Straub.
Stephen King collaboration, and my buddy read those, and he told me they're completely fucked up.
They're supposed to be awesome. I haven't read them, but that's the one they did with Peter Straub. Is it Straub?
Yeah, Peter Straub. Peter Straub.
Yeah. They're supposed to be great.
Yeah.
Guys, by the way, could we go back to the best Eddie scene, which everyone's been like putting on Twitter? That fantastic Master of Puppets guitar solo to distract the bats. That was so cool.
Good, dude. Oh my god.
I gotta find it. Let me find it.
I love that scene. So I was wondering what they were going to have him play, whether it was going to be something of his own or just. And out comes Master of Puppets. I'm like, dude, that is
I wanted him to use the guitar like as an axe or something, you know, like I wanted him to put like duct tape, like razor blades on it, you know, and go after the bats with it, because that would have been so metal, you know.
Oh god,
it's way earlier than that.
It's a great reference. So Master of Puppets, you know, they're all being controlled, or the puppet theme to it. Yeah, it was cool, and it reminded me of the old like kind of 1980s metal horror movies. If anyone's seen Trick or Treat, that's a really old one. But I think Steve Vai's in that, the guitarist Steve Vai. But anyway, who doesn't love a bit of metal? Come on, guys.
Audio.
We got
and seeing Billy as well. Billy
pull back a little bit.
Yeah,
he
came
do
back
7 seconds, 7-8 seconds. You can do it.
Max,
you guys, this is one of the parts I had a problem with, was them going back to the snowball, and why did Max end up at the snowball? Because it was so important to her, because she was so happy there. Is that why Vecna?
Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah, she picked the memory when she was talking to Lucas. She said, "I'm gonna find my happiest memory. I have one in mind, and you were there."
Okay,
that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because for her character, all her family has ever done is abuse her, so she's never had anyone to actually care about her. So this moment of Lucas saying, "Hey, I really care about you," is the first time she's experienced that in her life. So I can totally see why the snowball is one of her happiest memories, because it's the first time she probably felt value as a human being.
Yeah.
So
and I mean,
can see why they chose it.
And look at this frame. I mean, she's smiling. She's happy for once.
Yep.
So
I didn't like their relationship in seasons 2 or 3, but this one I really enjoyed, like him fighting to stay close to her pushing him away at the beginning, how it all played out.
Yeah,
well, Jed, it's really good character writing, isn't it? Like you say, she came across as a real bitch. Like, you know, what a dick she was to Lucas.
She got redeemed.
She got redeemed. It's a great arc.
Episode 4 is probably my all-time favorite episode of the series.
Oh god, it's
where she's running, where they're playing Kate Bush, and she's running, and
I didn't think she was going to make it.
None of us did. I was like, holy crap.
At that point, I was still ready for her to die, but
Guys, I keep coming back to there has
Ginger
to be
side.
a time. There has to be a time travel component or something. Like what I want to have happen is somebody was there helping them throughout all of the things that happen in this season. Like somebody pushed the boulder away or somebody did something so that all these things that happened, like it was somebody was there, like a guardian angel, but just somebody from the cast. I know it sounds crazy, but like, you know, someone who was watching this who'd already experienced it and came from the future or something. But I would really like if they could do that in an artful way. I think it would make a really compelling next season.
What if this has all been a mind battle between Eleven and Vecna?
Wow.
In the flashback when she was 6 years old, it was all in her head.
What if
that
it's
whole
all
time.
a mind battle?
Expectations subverted.
She never pushed him through, and this is all just a giant mind battle.
Go ahead.
You go ahead. No,
I was going to say,
changing the subject, so you go ahead.
I was going to say, as long as Darth Vader doesn't show up, I'm good.
Well, what I was going to say, speaking of subverting expectations, they did subvert my expectations in a very neat way that I think is actually conflicting with, I can't remember who said it in the pre-show, about how they didn't all meet together for the finale.
Mm-hmm.
Probably me.
I was actually, I was expecting that the whole time. So when it was finally revealed that they didn't, I was actually kind of glad that they hadn't done that and they subverted my expectations in that sense, because Stranger Things has a formula. A bunch of people in little groups figuring things out, coming together, getting more information, until they finally all fight the final battle together. And I was really glad that didn't happen, just to change things up a little bit. I know one of you wished that hadn't happened, so it was interesting to see.
No, I was all season. I was sort of, and that's probably because that is the formula. I mean, I was just sort of like, okay, I'm ready for them to get together. But I think I get what you're saying, and I think I agree with it to a point. Plus, I think it's going to give even more meaning to season 5 and just them all being together because, well, they need each other for this threat, right? So I get, and I agree to a point, but I just was like waiting for it, you know.
And Justin having to be the one to tell Eddie's uncle that Eddie's dead. I thought that was
a great scene.
That was a lot.
There was a lot going on in that scene.
Yeah.
There's his uncle right here.
Yeah.
And Robin.
The actor, the actor who plays Dustin, he's on fire, isn't he? He's been getting better and better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just that moment.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great scene.
And it's one of those things where now that I'm older, you know, you'd rather know than not know. You know?
Yes. Oh, it's. I totally believe it's way worse when you have no
not
closure.
to know. Yeah.
So like
that
people,
took a lot of guts
like
to tell him.
so especially parents of kids that are missing. It just gives me the heebie-jeebies thinking about.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, and almost more importantly, finding out like someone else believed him that Eddie was innocent and believed that he was a hero. That probably meant a lot to this guy as well. It's like he's innocent. I'm not interested in you telling me he's a bad guy, and that was a good moment. I told him that too.
So the news is blaming Eddie, aren't they? The news are saying it's him. You know, he was the killer, and he's opened a gateway to another dimension or something.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Yeah. Imagine that they lied in the media in the '80s too. They just perfected it.
What did the dad say?
It.
What did the dad say? Like the news is getting no different than the tabloids. Remember
tabloids,
that was a great quote.
So real quick, just Braden had just made me think about something. All the missing people that comment. Do we think they're dead, or do you think they're in the Upside Down being manipulated into?
I think it'll be a combination.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think that would be an interesting one, kind of tying back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago, is not doing it in a zombie sense, but like reanimating a lot of the dead and weaponizing them against the people, because Vecna's whole deal is mental battles, you know, controlling your fear. And what's more frightening than having to battle your loved ones who have been dead? I think that might be a very effective way to affect the emotions of his enemies.
And then no torso jock guy is their leader. There you go.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, he'd come back to haunt Lucas, maybe.
On Darth Maul mechanical legs.
No, it's Darth Basketball. They're going to call him Darth Basketball.
Or maybe he'll be a part Demogorgon. You know, have the Demogorgon legs and everything.
Yeah,
Just saying.
Groot, he's got vines or something.
No,
like he's in
he'll be
Boba
a
Fett.
Vines, yeah.
He'll be a
Boba Fett,
regular ass Demogorgon, but when he opens his face, it's the jock's face
Oh,
inside.
that's like a Drakkar, man. You're thinking,
Oh
making
my
me think of Wheel of
God.
Time stuff here too. I was like, oh my god.
Oh, Steve, you said it. You brought it up. Wheel of
Oh.
Time. Salty.
What? I was reading It's a Halfback. That was dark. Tom. yeah. No, I mean like Wheel of Time book versus dude, I got people giving me so much hate for the video while I'm sitting here. So if you see me shaking my head,
Wait, what video? What did I miss?
the one I dropped yesterday, the response to Maxfield von Priestley.
Oh,
Dude,
the
people are
toxic
saying,
fandom.
yeah.
It's doing
And
well,
it's-
isn't it, Salty?
Yeah,
Good one.
yeah,
Good
it
one.
is. But I mean, you saw what they did in Salon with Geeks and Gamers and naming Jeremy and Ryan. It was nuts, man.
My article for that is dropping on Geeks and Gamers pretty soon here. I was writing that right before the show started.
Yeah,
They
I mean,
finished it in time.
a guy just dropped a comment. He's like, "Hey, loser, how about none of this stuff is real and Disney owns it and can do whatever the hell they want with it?"
Like,
That's
what is
literally a comment like that. I just got on my...
I've heard that before. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's true.
Loser.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that hurt, didn't it, Salty?
Yeah.
Well,
That-
what do they say now? Like the
tears out of my eyes. Yeah.
now they say the bullies are running things, all the nerd things now.
It's all transference. It's
Yeah.
all just bullshit. I mean, this is what intersectionalism does. It's about reversing the guilt and transposing things onto you. It's Cloward and Piven. It's really the best way to put it. Do the thing that you accuse somebody else of doing. Like the last 4 years before Loser, we got
He
now.
felt
So,
he felt it was really important to his soul that he went and watched a video that he hated and
yes,
told you
and
you were
left
a
me a
loser.
comment.
This.
Just like
and
Wheel of Time.
But
Just
YouTube.
like Wheel of Time.
But you're the
All right.
loser who went to
Yeah.
but you had to go watch a video that he disliked, which
That's
fine.
all I do
whatever.
all day is I go watch shit that I don't like to hear people things I don't say, so then I can leave them a comment they're not going to read.
Exactly.
That's what I do with my
that's
life.
what I do. Yeah. I wish
Guys,
it was
joking.
worked out.
Joking aside, it is planned. It's coordinated. They're keeping us divided. Think about that. They're trying to keep us all divided, and it's just
and hide that they don't have any numbers at all. They don't. It's not even 1%, 2%. It's all just bullshit. It is. Anyway, let's talk about Stranger Things. But
yeah, Stranger Things.
I'll say this one thing. I do want to cover this eventually in a video, but the one thing to combat this is just to have conversations with people that disagree with you. At least those who are willing to have a discussion. There's a lot of people that won't. Yeah, there's lots of people that won't.
That's right.
No.
So, yeah, but that's the way. That's the way you do it. If all this hate, what fights hate? Love. I know it sounds terrible.
No.
It sounds pretty.
Grenades.
It's
Grenades.
good, man. It's good.
Grenades.
Stranger Things.
Yes.
Grenades.
Stranger Things.
Flamethrowers. Yeah.
Can we bring it back to Stranger Things? And Salty, you were talking about this before. I can't remember if it was pre the show or just on the show, but to have seen more of the apocalyptic attack on Hawkins, that would have been so good, wouldn't it? I wanted to see more. It was great what we saw, but I wanted more of that.
I wanted like a teaser like they did at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League when he redid the cut and you've got apocalyptic Batman with Joker looking at the ruins. I wanted something like that because again, I'm trying to sell this idea of time travel or the Kyle Reese Terminator coming back through time. Like I want this to go way the hell dark. I don't want him to play anymore because you've opened up hell. Something worse than hell. And now I want that payoff of there's no sympathetic evil here. Evil is evil.
Yes.
You know what you do to evil?
Yes,
You
this is
do
it.
this to evil, and then you walk away. You don't let evil tell you why it's evil. No one gives a shit. You just put
You
evil
fight
in the
it.
ground.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And evil has to be close to winning to really pay off. Like to build up investment, you have to have the villains be really good at what they're doing, and they have to really put our heroes through real trouble. And that's why I feel this season, especially with all the cuts, between every single group of characters, there was something big going on. Like looked like they were about to lose. Like some of them looked like they were about to die. And that just kept me glued to the screen. And that's what led to the payoff. But before we go any further, I want to welcome to the Nerdporial Collective, or not collective, the Nerdporial not collective. I'm not a
The
Borg.
Borg. The
The
Borg.
Nerporial Continuum. Nerporial
Oh.
Continuum. Sorry.
Nice
Like
branding.
Q Continuum. Nerporial Continuum. Welcome Resurrection 117.
117, member of my channel, good dude. I've done a couple interviews with him. He's been on a couple live streams. Really good dude. So hail, Res.
Thank you so much. Hail.
Hail.
We got to have the villain monologue though. Yeah.
It's a good monologue.
Didn't Vecna have a good? Vecna had enough monologue,
Yeah,
right?
he had
I
a
think
couple.
He showed off. I think what he was doing is he's like, you guys thought you were going to win. You guys thought that I didn't know. You guys thought you were so smart. Everything is happening according to my plan.
My plan.
So
yeah.
there's that whole
Very, very
Return of the
Emperor.
Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi. in the
Your
throne
friends
room
have
thing.
lost.
Yeah. Yes.
Your-
Your fleet is lost. Yeah. Yeah.
There is no
Yeah.
escape. There is no.
And I
escape.
wonder if him showing Nancy some stuff is going to come back
I feel like it's got to.
because some of it can't.
Yeah.
Cause
There's
it'll
no
just come
there's
true
no
at this
payoff
point.
for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and there's no payoff for it yet.
Yeah.
Like
For
she
what
didn't
again?
have to tell the visions that he gave Nancy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like she was supposed to tell 11, but 11 already knew, or maybe she didn't know. I don't know.
Well, they
Yeah,
didn't get together. It was all going by the time they got,
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
over. But
it was
Well,
over.
I guess. Well, she told. I guess she told Max and the rest of them, and I guess Max told her.
no,
So
maybe.
to 11, or maybe I don't remember. So it was by proxy.
Yeah.
So
I kept expecting something with Barb to pop up. Now, I know we got it with Nancy feeling bad and being in the pool, but I really thought they would give us something with Barb, like she's a minion or she hates Nancy and is still alive down there, or Nancy has to see her again and she's like the shell, like something just
that would be
way down there.
that'd be effed up.
That's what I
so
mean.
effed up, yeah.
Even if they don't go in the route of minions, what's his bucket? Brenner, I think it was said that when Vecna kills, he takes everything that they are, takes their consciousness.
Their
So
soul.
anyone killed by the Upside Down probably exists in his head. So in the Nancy vision, he could have been like, Barb is here. And then Barb just kind of walks out.
Do you
and
think
it's
they'll
actually
elaborate
her
further on-
mind.
with Max, and that's what I'm wondering if Max, if her physical biological body is alive, but they're going to have to go into the Upside Down to get Max away from
Get her
Vecna.
mind. I think that's definitely a strong possibility.
Mhm.
And talking
So-
about, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, just talking about the dark ending that you've been talking about for season 5, Salty. The idea that I think would be really cool is like how you're saying it's completely apocalyptic. The whole world is taken over, but instead of doing time travel, do it as a a new beginning type thing. Like after they beat Vecna, after they win the day, kind of a cheesy like a single flower blooms again. And it's like the real
I
world
could
is
see that.
overtaking the Upside Down, and it's just the survivors rebuilding afterwards. And they're like
I
spread
could
all
see it.
across the country doing their own thing. 5 years later, they're like, hey, 11 has a plan, and they all kind of come back together for the final assault. They win, but it's a slow universe restoration. Very slow universal.
It's almost I mean, if you read the book World War Z, where it takes this long time and there's these massive battles and they have to change weapon types to fight it, man, that would be fucking amazing. Let's be honest about it. I would love that. But yeah, it's just something like that where we like this thing is not just going to stay in Hawkins. It's not, and that's what I want. I want it to be global in scale. Or North America at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, totally, man.
Do you think they're gonna split? Do you think they're gonna split season 5?
Yes.
I think so. They've been doing that for a lot more of their products. They've been doing a lot. Other shows, other streaming services have been. I mean, it goes back to the debate that Geeks and Gamers and Neurotic have a lot. The streaming versus or the weekly.
Yeah, streaming versus weekly.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
model.
I'm on weekly. I'm on the side of weekly because it allows episodes to digest into people. And people can have, like you say, water cooler conversations. The Oracle's been pretty successful at that.
Yeah.
Check out my
I think
Oracle
it
streams if
depends
you
on the
haven't.
show. I think it depends on the show.
I
but
agree
it
with
is-
that. I agree.
I prefer to binge. That's my preferred method. But I get that you need it to be dragged out as long as possible just to keep interest in it. It maximizes profits. I think it's the best financially. Might not be what I like personally, but yeah, I think season 2. I think the part 2s is a good compromise between the two models. I think breaking it up like that, or like how The Boys does it, drops the first 3, kind of a good compromise.
And
Yeah,
that's
dropping
Amazon's
3
model.
and then
Yeah.
weekly. Yeah.
I just loved how I just love the idea of just looking forward to these final 2 episodes, especially with the awesome volume
The
one was so good. Yeah, volume one
the
just
hype
ended
was massive.
high note. Like I wanted more, and that's the feeling you want. You want this. You want more. And
well, you want the second date because the first date went so well. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You're really hoping to make it to second base in the second date, right?
The problem is you're so hyped
right.
up. It's going to be a letdown. You're so hyped, aren't you guys?
Mm-hmm.
I was worried it's going to be a letdown.
Risky maneuver. It's a risky maneuver, but when it pays off well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So
sorry to be a bit of a Debbie Downer, but my main criticism, because I really enjoyed the whole series, but it felt too long, especially part 2, volume 2. It really felt dragged out. Now, what I'm thinking this is about is to do with the streaming service as a business. You know, they've got more people watching for longer. What do you think? A lot of it could have been just taken out, and we wouldn't have lost much of the story.
What in particular do you think they should have cut out? Is there anything in mind? Right.
Just the scenes were very slow. There's lots of like people just like walking and talking, and it wasn't progressing the plot much. Yeah, it's developing character. I get that, but I don't know. Lots of shots of the cars like just driving through the scenery, and you're thinking, okay, come on, what's next? What's next? Lots of slow panning shots.
I agree with you on episode 8. I really thought
Episode
they could have cut that damn thing in half. I mean, and then you could have left 9 a little longish, but to me, you could have cut 25% out of 9, from just good editing and got the same
I wasn't
story.
checking the time on episode 8, but episode 9, I kept looking. It's like, wow, only 30 minutes have gone, and it's 35 minutes. Like, no, wait, it felt like the last episode went on forever for the first half of it. The conclusion was amazing, but the first half, I felt.
Well, let's be honest. What the hell else does Netflix have that people are really fired up about right now?
Well, not Umbrella Academy. I should tell you that. That was garbage.
Don't dead name that woman, man. What is it this week?
That wasn't the big issue with that season. They pulled a Wonder Woman 84 and had a chick rape a dude, and no one cared.
Oh, Jesus. Did you watch the whole thing, Jed? Yeah, I only watched the first episode and I turned it off.
Yeah, wow. I watched the season, did a review on geeksandgamers.com on my channel, and it was probably equivalent to season 2 in quality, which isn't a good thing. But yeah, the grape scene was bad. Like I don't know if you guys care about spoilers for this, but someone has.
I'm never gonna watch this shit. But go ahead. Yeah.
One of the characters, she has an ability to tell people, I've heard a rumor, and then whatever she says after that becomes true. Like, I had a rumor that you can't move, person can't move anymore. Wow. Well, when someone she wanted to have sex with didn't want to have sex with her, she just kind of used that power to make him do it anyway. And no one gave a shit.
Was it Elliot Page that got draped? Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, it was the big man. The one who's like the muscle-bound Hulk. He's the one who got raped. And
all of this fetishization.
She kept saying like, I was entitled. She said that at one point. Like he's like, you can't just use me. And she's like, I'm entitled. And she makes a lot of other bad decisions and is just a heinous person, but still put up as a hero and the best of the crew. And it was bad. It was really
so bad. That's a third wave feminist hero right there. Guys.
Oh, thoroughly.
That shit's real. That's the message.
She does not. She doesn't care about the baby daddy. So she has a daughter. She does not care about the baby daddy, even though he's the one who raised the girl and has the only relationship he has in his life is with the girl. She's like, fuck him.
Yep.
A lot of
third wave feminism.
Season 3.
Third wave feminism. Yep.
But yeah, so that's the closest second they have on Netflix right now. So that's not good.
Okay, so I guess it sells that issue. So we're approaching the 2 hour. We're almost at the 2 hour mark. So why don't we do final thoughts on the entire season 4? We'll start with Steve.
Oh, say that again. Sorry, I was reading something.
Final thoughts on Stranger Things season Quattro.
Well, it was one of those. I was listening to what you guys said about, I was sort of found myself in a weird place. I almost felt like, and it might be the way they did it, but I almost felt like they needed another episode, at least a short one, to put some more things back in cohesively that just sort of they sort of ran to the end to get to. But that also could have been probably done trimming some of the fat and all that stuff. So I get where you guys were coming from with the length. So, but all in all, I'm with Salty on 8. I didn't really like 8 as much. It was my least favorite of the season. Episode 9, I enjoyed quite a bit. I was sort of the opposite of Gray. I was watching the clock for 8, but not for 9. I felt like I was invested in 9. But I think it's very important that Vecna won. I'm glad that he wasn't overcome easily because of all the buildup. I mean, if he's been doing this for as long as he has, pretty much taking power from everybody, he's should be a tough cookie or nut to crack, however you want to put it. So they've left it in a good spot. I'm looking forward to the next season. I think they did a good job of stopping where they stopped, and now we can all speculate what's going to happen, whether it's going to be a large time jump and the world's going to be half upside down, what the military is going to be doing, are the Russians coming back, what's up with this, what's up with that. There's a lot of meat still to chew on the bone, so I think it's in a good spot. And I think the only thing, I'm glad we didn't lose a main character because I like all these main characters, but I know I saw a few comments. I think I would have rather seen somebody else other than Eddie die, because Eddie was basically brought in and then shelved or fridged. Like, you can't really say fridged because he got a lot of content, but I would have liked.
If it was a woman, they call it that.
Yeah, but right. So, but I would have rather seen somebody else go than Eddie.
I felt that. I honestly felt that Eddie's death. I mean, it was sad, but we barely knew him.
Yeah, it was one of those. He was introduced just so they could say they killed the main character. Is what I feel like, and it's like, well, kill Jonathan. Nobody would have cared. But no, that's not the deal. That also would have. Right. I mean, well, yeah, but you got. I mean, I built a connection to Eddie, like, so I feel like that's part of why I didn't want him to go, but it would have been better to have, at least in my opinion, a long, hell, everybody from season 1 still in the show, so get rid of one of them. But other than that, I'm pretty happy. Pretty darn happy, especially compared to everything else out these days.
Yeah. Are you gonna be just as happy when Better Call Saul comes back, Steve?
Dude, are you kidding? I'm ready. I am so ready for Better Call Saul. I'm so ready for it. I'm chomping at the bit, man.
Yeah, me too. There's so many watching so many theory videos on what's going to happen next, but that's not what we're here to talk about. So let's about Gray. What about you?
Okay, well, first of all, thanks for having me on. It's been a great chat, great discussion, great being a nerd again and just, nerding out on things. Great arguments in this chat as well. And thank you for the chat. Amazing comments, blew my mind, some really good ideas. But overall, even though I complained about the length, I think that was because I just wanted to know what's going to happen next, and it felt a little bit like it was too long to get there in the final 2 episodes. But I loved it, as you were saying, compared to so much content that's out these days. It just shines. It's so well produced, well directed, well made. It looks amazing, as you were saying, Nerdporial. It looks like a movie. But it has kind of got a movie budget, hasn't it? I think Salty was talking about that last time. We talked about the episode budget was
crazy. It's a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah, so you can see it on the screen, can't you guys? But yeah, I loved it. So I'm sorry for complaining. I'm going to rewatch it. I think I binged it. I binged it too fast, the last 2 episodes. I'm going to rewatch them slowly.
I don't think that's fair to yourself. I don't think you've been complaining, dude. I think you've been very constructive.
I know. You're such a fine, upstanding young man, Ray. Don't be so hard on yourself. I mean, it's
young
not
man, thank you for that. 49.
I know.
Gen X, baby.
You're younger than me, so take it while you can, dude. Yeah.
30 million per
there you
episode.
go.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But the difference is, it looks like it. Like,
it does.
It looks like it. There's a big difference. So they're spending $30 million. I think it's been well spent. You got a whole cast of who knows what. I mean, I don't know if the cast earnings equate to that, or if it's just spent on what we see on screen. But I mean, you got an all-star cast,
especially goes.
So you got, I mean, David Harbour, Winona Ryder, Millie Bobby Brown. All these are all now big time. I mean, Winona Ryder and David Harbour. Well, maybe not. Hellboy sort of killed his career, but the kids especially the two main kids, they're blowing
Noah
up.
Wolfram, and
And with all that, it looks good. It looks like a $30 million product.
It
So.
does. I totally agree.
Yeah.
About you, Jed?
Well, I think I'm going to be in the minority where I definitely like part 2 far more than I liked part 1. I thought the slow pacing was more of an issue in part 1. But overall, very happy with the season. I think it's pretty close to being on par with season 1 or a close second to it. And I was not expecting to say that. I thought it was going to be another season 3 and no one was going to talk about it. I was very happy to have those expectations subverted and really look forward to see how season 5 works out. I haven't been excited about the show for the next season in a very long time. So really looking forward to see how it all plays out. It definitely was well. And it was also great to meet Gray and Steve for the first time. Great to meet you guys. And just like Gray was saying, I think the most important thing to take out of this is that we're talking like nerds again.
Hell yeah.
We are.
We're not like criticizing wokeness. We're just like, man, that was good. And then we have nerd debates. You know, the classic "who would win at a fight" is the equivalent of that.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Good.
And so it's just so fulfilling. I feel like a nerd for the first time in a long time.
Agreed.
Very
Agreed.
Great point. Good to meet you too, man. By the way.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, and Salty?
So I still stand by what I said originally with this season. I think it is better than season 1 in a different way than season 1 was. Part 2 for me, I think, in my opinion, I think we could have cut 30% out of episode 8. I think we could have took 20% out of episode 9, and I would have called this one of the best seasons of science fiction television since Battlestar Galactica. As it stands, I still enjoyed this show. What they did in affecting me emotionally, I have not felt since Battlestar Galactica with a television show. And I loved who these characters were. I love that they made mistakes. I love that they subverted their own tropes, like you talked about, Jed, and some of the rest of us did too, about, it wasn't just the Scooby-Doo adventures again, where the young kids just all get together and magically shit gets solved. Now that they're adults, there are consequences. People are really hurt. There's loss. I cannot wait for the next season. And it has been a very, very, very long time since I got to do this with you guys. And again, I want to thank you, Nerdporial, for the invite. And thanks to Steve and Gray and Jed. Guys, like Jed just said, I haven't had a conversation like this in a really long time. And it's nice to just be a nerd doing nerd stuff, So, yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thank you guys for sharing all that. For me, I just had I'll be honest. I had a fucking blast with this season. This might be this is probably my favorite season. The sheer scope of the season. Now I love now seasons 2 and 3 I don't like as much as season 1. But this season completely blew my expectations. I was expecting this to be more like season 3. This was nothing like season. I mean, there were some, jokey moments, but this was a really serious season, and I loved every aspect of it. I loved Joy and Joyce and Murray's journey, get them being on the plane and then them crashing, making me think of Temple of Doom. And of course I loved Hopper in prison was pretty cool, especially him escaping, just like Great Escape and all that. I thought that was awesome, him fighting all those Russians, getting out of there while they were doing the manual labor. That was great. Everything with obviously Hawkins with Vecna and just everything that went on there, and even the California stuff, even the stuff in California that kind of the whole L11 being bullied stuff. I even thought that was good. And she just went and just jabbed that woman, that chick, that bully chick, in the head with the skate, with the roller skate.
Yeah, man, yeah.
And then they arrest her, and then of course, then Dr. Owens comes in. He's like, "There's a war coming." Like it was like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings is like, "There's a war coming, and we need you, 11. We need you badly. We need you badly." Yeah. And we're like, "What is?" And the thing I was thinking about was, what was Owens thinking? Because Owens saw the what do you call it, the bodies of Vecna's victims, and he knew right away what that was. I love how they elaborated further on this in episode 8. So I just loved I just loved every aspect of this season, and the finale. It was slow at points, but I was put that aside. and just sit back and enjoy it. And it's I have not had a lot of. I mean, like this now, like within the last couple of years, it's really been the last couple of months that have really been shining for TV shows. Like between this show, The Orville, Better Call Saul. And there's other shows out there that I want to check out, like For All Mankind's another one that everyone's been recommending. So there's good stuff out there. You just have
Outer
to,
Range, too. Damn good show. Yeah.
And Pacific has been reviewing The Old Man on Hulu. I don't know if any of you guys seen The Old Man.
I went to go watch it. I haven't yet, but you know, and I don't know how you guys feel. I haven't watched the latest one, but actually compared to season 2, The Boys season 3 has been pretty okay. I've enjoyed it quite
much better.
It's not. Maybe it's just because 2 was so bad, but it feels better.
I couldn't make it through episode 3. I haven't watched since the first few minutes of episode 3. So does
really?
it better than that?
Oh, we lost you.
There were some moments that were just rough.
There are. No. I'm not saying it's a masterpiece. I just think it's
not at all
better.
We are not an echo chamber. I couldn't make it through season 1, guys. I couldn't.
Oh, really? Oh, I love season 1, but yeah, season 2 was a disaster for me.
Oh,
I'm not usually that squeamish with violence or whatever, but you know, the scene in episode 1 of season 3 with the Ant-Man guy was a bit much for me.
Yeah,
that was a bit much for me.
They're going a little over the top, but I mean, I guess that's I don't know.
They're doing it on purpose, aren't they, Steve?
Oh, yeah,
doing it on purpose. Yeah.
Volume's better than 2. Not a masterpiece by any means, but for me, watchable at this point compared to season 2. It's like, no, can't do it. For me.
Napoleon, great to hear you being so positive, man. I love that nerd rant you just had then. That was so good. I'm really glad you enjoyed this whole season.
This is the way. This is the way to fight the divisiveness that
highlight good stuff.
Companies and the journal, then all the online journalists they're trying to do. Just if you have a conversation, if you disagree with people on stuff, have a conversation with them. Ask, be inquisitive. Ask why they feel that way. If you hate something, if you dislike something that somebody else likes, ask them what they like about it. Don't just tell them it sucks. It's just you're pushing them away. You want to build dialogue. You want to build communication.
True, but they also have to be willing to hear what we have to say, and that's the video I put out yesterday. We can't have a real conversation with people who are not being genuine and don't want to hear what we think.
That's true.
For a minute, I thought Napoleon was going to say, take a lesson from Salty's comments from his last video. Go to channels that you hate and tell them that they suck.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, we're not doing that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Because that makes sense.
I think you'd be surprised how many people would be willing to have a conversation, especially how you frame, like how once you act inquisitive, they won't get as defensive.
No, well, it's fun.
There are some people out there that are,
I haven't had a lot of, I've, especially when I started, some weird bad comments, even attacking me, calling me names, and,
hell yeah.
It's one of those things you just... It's amazing because I got into a long conversation with somebody. After that, you just make a comment, be like, "Well, sorry, that's your opinion," and are you laughing at me?
No, well, first I'm laughing at Man of War 665, Steve, neighbor of the beast. Hail to you, brother. I met him at the meetup. He said, "Good thing we are in an echo chamber because Salty brother, Outer Range was pure ass."
Dude,
I respect your opinion, but I strenuously disagree with it, brother. So hail to you, Man of War 665.
I had to watch a few help explain some of it to me. To be honest, it was just a little lost, but I enjoyed it for the most part.
I don't think I've even heard of that before.
Is it a Western?
It's like it's like a Yellowstone sci-fi type deal.
It's like
Isn't that
the Outer
Western?
Limits.
Oh, with Josh Brolin. I have seen the trailer.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
That's good.
I thought so.
It was pretty
Zach
good.
thought so.
I was confused. I was
it out.
confused at parts, but I enjoyed it for the most part.
Yeah. So, well, once again, guys, thank you for being here. It's been over 2 hours. I know you guys have your own stuff you want to do. So let's go around the horn and plug your channels. Salty, don't you have a channel? I think you have the biggest channel of all of us.
No, well, no. Flaccid Phoenix probably does by now with all those Indian cinema reviews. Let's be honest. Dude went from 600 to like 10,000. So,
Good on him.
No, so I'm Salty Texas C. I have the pleasure of working with a lot of the gentlemen who are on this panel routinely. I hope to get to work more with you, Jed. You're a cool, righteous dude. And
I appreciate that.
we had Nerdporial on my live show on Tuesday. I'm going to be doing a live show tomorrow night on Purple Valkyrie's channel. She wants to talk about a bunch of things and some of the things that we love. I am like 5 away from 2,500. For subscribers, and I have worked my ass off for every single one of those.
Oh yeah.
If you're interested in seeing what I do, please give me a subscription. I sure would appreciate it. So thanks again, Nerdporial, for having me on the show.
No problem. How about you, Jed? Don't you have a channel too?
I do. I'm the Hollywood Scholar, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all that. You can find me there. I put out daily videos. Tomorrow, I'm going to be putting one out on the Salon article that Salty was talking about, as well as I write for geeksandgamers.com, so you can check out some articles I write for them occasionally over there. And the next live stream I'm going to be on is actually on the Geeks and Gamers tabletop channel on Thursday, I believe. So yeah, coming up this week, where I'm going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons for the first time with them. So if you're interested in seeing me fail dramatically, check that out.
Just remember, you want to roll a 20. No, don't roll it. Just remember that. So, yeah.
How about you, Gray?
Oh, just to counter what Jed was saying, am I getting this right, Jed? Are you saying you are associated with Geeks and Gamers? No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Yeah, I love them. I love the guys. It's great to meet you on this stream, and I really enjoyed your takes. I have a little channel called Wakizashis Teahouse, which everyone has fun trying to say, and I review comic books and try and do positive live streams, put a bit of positivity out there, and yeah, that's it. Please subscribe and watch some comic videos. Great chat, Nerdporial. Great conversation, and thanks for the chat as well. You guys rule with the comments. Man of War 665 name of the beast. Nice one, man. You made me laugh at the end.
You're gonna be next, Gray. We got Steve to 1,000. I predicted by the end of June, and he didn't believe me, and we got him by the end of June. I'm gonna say by the end of July, you're gonna be at 1,000, Gray. I'm making the call right now. We're gonna get you there.
No.
We're gonna get you there. Yeah.
What about you, Steve? Don't you have a channel too?
Yeah, I am thanks to Salty and everybody, the newly 1K prophet of the dragon. Salty is the true prophet, as he stated. He predicted by the end of June, which, he sort of pulled that off by the skin of his teeth right at the magic hour. But I appreciate that and everybody that subscribed in the last ever. I mean, I can't believe people want to hear what I have to say, since I'm a toxic, horrible, negative person. I'm doing some Rings of Power stuff here lately because some stuff's been popping off. Wheel of Time is my forte, and we'll hopefully be probably doing some sort of 1K thing. Hopefully monetization soon. Working on that, but. I love chatting about Wheel of Time and anything nerdy. I think that's the biggest thing that I don't know by far everything nerdy, but it's fun listening to everybody have fun talking about their favorite things, and just you can see genuine excitement. And I think that's I think one of the things this season's been so good for. I know me. I mean, I hope a lot of people is you feel good. I feel good. I was looking forward to talking to all you gentlemen pretty much all day. And yesterday, and I was prepped for it. And Better Call Saul coming up. Man, I miss talking to you about that. It's nice. It's a good feeling to be excited about entertainment.
Yes,
it's a really good feeling, and I hope we keep making that turn in more things. I mean, Cobra Kai coming and stuff like that. It's a great feeling, and I thank you guys for including me in this, inviting me, and just talking and having fun, man, and disagreeing and I think bouncing ideas off each other. It's a lost art, theorizing and being able to respect other people's opinions. I'm glad we all can do that here.
Yeah.
Amen. Or should I say women?
You have
Amen.
Oh,
canceled.
you have a super chat. You have a super chat.
I know. I'm gonna get into it.
I'm doing my Zach's imitation.
Oh, nice.
Sorry. Yeah.
So we have a super chat here from Man of War 665, the neighbor of the beast. For what did I say? 665 or $6.65? Can't usually catch you live, brother. So here, Have foul ball. He'll have foul ball Matsoni instead. Heck yeah! Thank you so much. Yeah, Man of War is a good guy. I met him in Las Vegas. He's everybody in this community is awesome. I did this whole when people say stuff, you go to your salons or your IGNs or whoever, never just take people's word for it. Get to know the individuals themselves. Yeah. Do not believe when people say mean stuff about people. Don't believe it. Find out for yourself.
Unless it's Flaccid Phoenix, then believe everything negative.
Screw that guy.
I guess there are some exceptions. We love you, Flaccid.
We do.
So,
we don't like it flaccid, but we love you, flaccid.
Yeah.
Well, which one? Aren't there two flacids?
There is. There's a flaccid Don and a flaccid Gator. So you got them in stereo.
So which one's the one that we always make fun of? Is it Gator?
Don.
Oh, is it Don?
Oh my God! There's two of them now. They're taking over, Salty.
This is getting out of hand.
Yeah.
It was like there was a bizarre transporter malfunction, and now we got to live with two of them. So
They cloned
it's like Will Riker and Tom Riker.
Yeah, except there's no good half and bad half. There's just two bad halves. So
Well, it's funny. You hear them talking, and they're just repeating the same thing in a few different words. It's like, man, you guys are saying the same exact clone.
Wow.
Okay, that was
Steve.
That was you went straight up medieval on them. Jesus, that was hardcore.
Dude, I hope they know I love them. Flaccid's been great to me, so it's all good fun.
It's met with love. We all give each other hell. So,
Naporio, can I ask you one quick question before we finish?
Sure.
I know you're enjoying Orville. Are you enjoying Strange New Worlds? Is it any good? I haven't seen.
You had to.
All right. So
I'm
I
serious.
didn't realize we started a comedy
Kind of pop a blood vessel. What are you doing, man?
So I reviewed 5 episodes. Which were, in my opinion, all meh. And a lot of the characters, it didn't feel like Star Trek to me. It just felt very, especially with younger officers speaking out of turn, and Pike just doesn't have a backbone. He doesn't act like a captain. He acts like a friend boss. At least that's what I call it. I call him a friend boss. And I mean, he tries to be nice, but I'm like, you're not supposed to be nice. You're the captain. You're the ship. You're at the top. You're supposed to be alone.
If they did that in TNG, it wouldn't have made it one season.
Exactly.
If they would have did that in the OG and the original series, it wouldn't have made it one season.
Yeah, like in Balance of Terror, they won the Navigator Styles, who just mutters something, who just mutters something. Kirk tells him, keep this in your quarters. There's no room for on the bridge. He disciplines. They discipline because it's still, there's still a chain of command. So that's the things that got me annoying. Plus, they have a character named Lon Noonien Singh, who is a descendant of Khan from the 90s.
Oh yeah.
And then she's like, I can't stand my ancestry. Khan was such a bad person, because there was an episode where they came across genetically enhanced super people, the Illyrians or something.
Hasn't she met Spock yet? She's met Spock, right?
Well, yeah, she treats Spock like like crap. She yells at him, and she literally in the first episode she yells at him to use the nerve pinch on somebody. I'm like, shut up, Lon. Just shut up.
Do you think in the original series, A Wrath of Khan, Spock might have mentioned, "Oh yeah, we know that guy's granddaughter or whatever"? Might have come up.
Spacey, season 1, Spacey, because they were trying to find out who he was. They were trying to find out who Khan Noonien Singh was, and then
as soon as they hear Noonien Singh, they're like, "Oh yeah, I knew an ensign or whatever who had that name. Let's see if he's related."
No,
these are lazy, talentless ideologues.
I know. I'm sorry for asking the question, guys. I really did ask what's up, because I've heard, surprise, I've heard a lot of positive things about it from certain.
I mean, it's better than Discovery and Picard, but Discovery.
God, it can't be worse than those, can it? They're terrible.
I mean, at least it's somewhat trying, but it's still
okay.
Thanks,
it's still diarrhea, but it's still shit.
It's still run by Akiva Goldsman. Strange New Worlds is show run by Akiva Goldsman, but I don't know if you guys follow Robert Meyer Burnett. I do, and he went on Twitter to say that he found out. He can't say how he found out, but he found out that season 3 of Picard is going to be solid because it's being run by Terry Matalas, who ran the 12 Monkeys TV show.
I don't know.
How can you save it now?
I saw his tweets. I thought he was joking.
All
How
their
can you save it now?
All their shows are completely divorced from each other, so I can see it. I can totally see it happening. Like they like
He's
all
a
the like if
robot.
you watch
He's
season
dead.
1 of
Picard is
Picard and
dead.
season 2 of Picard, there's very little continuity.
Well, they don't. They barely mention that he's a robot now.
He's a robot. He's dead. How can you save the show? He's dead.
Yeah.
Apart
I
from
mean,
the
they
money.
changed the timeline a few times, so maybe just change it to one where he's not a robot.
And what's funny was
Time travel, right? It's all
what's funny was a lot of people were giving Rob so much crap. They're like, how can you save Star Trek now? And Rob is like, it's good, believe me, it's good. It's like reading a good classic Star Trek novel. And I'm just like,
he's such a positive dude. He's such a positive dude. It's hard to trust because he said a lot of things are good. It's like, dude,
when it comes to Trek, though, I trust him on
Yeah,
Trek.
well, I used to.
One thing I'm super critical of is the new Star Trek.
He is a very well-spoken man, though. I do like Robert Byron.
Now his movie opinions vary for me, but like when it comes to Star Trek, I'm with him. So if he says season 3 is gonna be good,
me too.
I'm probably gonna likely watch it. But if I watch another crap episode, I'm out.
Can I ask a dumb question? Did Robert Meyer Burnett go back to working with John Campea?
Mm-hmm.
He's always worked with John. He never got left.
No, he left as is a Hot Toys stream to stream with John Campea at the same time, so it's more active.
Okay, he's gone back, right?
And he during the Summer of Love, there was that David Dorn thing that happened, and he screamed out like he got really pissed off on Twitter. Yeah, and he was with Collider, and Collider just let him go.
That's what it was, Collider. Yeah. So that's where I was going.
Campea stuck with him.
I only brought that up in reference to the Star Trek positivity, which is not a negative statement. It's simply me looking at things that have occurred.
Yeah.
So, no disrespect to anyone.
I guess we'll see, right? I'll see through you guys. I'll watch your reviews. I don't.
Fair play to Nerdporial. Fair play.
There's been a lot. I mean, the last couple episodes of the Orville have been under a lot of criticism from a lot of people. Me and everyone on my panel has been pretty cool with it, but I was listening to other streams and some other people
it's
are not happy
definitely easy
with
to
the
see
messaging.
where they're coming from. It's definitely
So that's
I don't watch the Orville either. I don't watch the Orville either. Just I couldn't.
You should. In season 1, it stops being cheesy at a certain point. And probably what you don't like about it, and becomes an actual Star Trek show. And once it does, it's incredible. Just like the first 2 episodes are kind of hard to swallow if you're a Star Trek fan, but as soon as About a Girl comes along,
I mean, the first 2 episodes had a lot of callbacks
I still
to
enjoy them,
really early Trek. Like the first episode was a very big callback to The Trouble with Tribbles, and the second episode was a callback to the Menagerie.
I don't understand how you pull these episode names out, man.
I know.
Well, I used to have. I know all the episodes by heart. Like if you ask me, if you ask me to list all the episodes in production order,
he's a nerd, Steve. Like we are. That's how he knows them all. But it's impressive, mate. It's impressive, and good to hear you being positive about it. Going to give it a chance.
It's really good.
It's Nerdporial, Nerdporial. Get it?
Yeah, the Orville's great. Salty. The Orville's great. Give it a chance. The Orville is the best Star Trek out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, if you don't, you might not agree with everything that Seth MacFarlane says, but I think Seth MacFarlane is a little bit like he would have a conversation with you if he could. Just by
that's what Gary said. Is Gary had a conversation with him about listening to people on the other side of an argument.
Yeah, he's had Rush Limbaugh on Family Guy. So I mean, I think there's a little bit of there's some respect. There's a little bit of respect there, from the other side, and just to have conversations. That's the point. Have conversations, and we learn from each other. And like, how do politicians get? I mean, how politicians get stuff done? They compromised. You have to kind of compromise.
They also weren't owned by
that too
transnational corporations, but I agree with you.
Are you sure, Salty?
Well, not as much as they are now, but yeah. Well.
Yeah. So, but yeah, once again, gentlemen, thanks a lot for joining me on the stream. This is something I was just looking forward to this.
Oh yeah.
but yeah, stuff for me, future stuff for me. I mean, I'm still working. I still have 2 videos I'm working on right now. I just recorded my audio for my Better Call Saul Part 1, final season Part 1 review. So that should be out before the final season. The second half of the final season starts, so expect that if you watch Better Call Saul. Of course, I'm working my major project. Other major project I'm working on is my Ocarina of Time retrospective. That's the Zelda game for the N64. My favorite game of all time that got me into fantasy, and especially Lord of the Rings. That's why I read Lord of the Rings, was because of games like Ocarina of Time, which I'm sure people have said.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so. And then, of course, I do Orville streams. I do after shows for the Orville every week. So roughly at midnight Central Time, which is my time zone, is when I usually watch the episode the moment it comes out or it gets dropped on Hulu, and then do an after show with whoever's willing to stay up that late. I was surprised how many people were willing to stay up that late. Some people weren't, but some people were.
I was so disappointed I didn't get to come on the other day because I had to go to work. But double-edged sword. Glad to be at work.
I did find a replacement. I did manage to get I was lucky. A replacement fell right in my lap right after I saw your message, your DM.
Yeah,
so
I apologize for that.
No problems. I'll just go in the corner and cry after the stream. So.
That's but you're probably a Bears fan, so you're used to that, right, Nerdtorial? So.
Well, I was a baby. I was 1 year old when the Bears won.
85, yeah, Refrigerator Perry. I remember that watching that game.
Yeah, I was a baby. I was 1 year old when the Super Bowl happened. So
it'll probably never happen in your lifetime, Nerdtorial. But
probably not. I mean, they were in
2007,
the 2006 season. They were pretty close, but everybody hated Rex Grossman. So.
I loved him as a Packers fan. It was awesome to play you guys. Yeah. But anyway, I'm derailing your ending.
Of course you did.
Y'all are so old.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yes, we are. Yeah, I agree. I'm right there too. Yeah.
I'm a '90s kid. Being Salty, and I know Salty and Gray will totally disagree with me on this, but being a '90s kid was the best. Got to see video games.
It was great to be in my 20s in the '90s. I can tell you that. It was a hell of a time.
See, but you guys didn't have internet porn yet, so I think I win.
No, we had real women. we just picked up chicks at bars and we made out with them and we had fun and we didn't need porn. We actually did it with someone else.
Wow, remember that, Salty? Picking someone up at a bar? Jesus.
I
vaguely.
I turned 21 during COVID, so I've never actually done that.
Oh wow, you're a baby.
Wow. Yeah.
No, I feel
anyway.
So Orville streams I do every week, every Wednesday, or technically Thursday at midnight. So if you're interested, check those out. And I do video game streams right now. I've been playing Sonic Origins, the original classic Sonic games. So, and then probably going to go play some more Mario Odyssey. So
they're doing really well, Nerdtorial, aren't they? For you, you're getting a lot of views on those Sonic streams.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just like cool, it's just like YouTube just wants to promote it.
Sonic, man. I was watching. You were up at like 25 people concurrent. I'm like, wow, people.
It went up to 50. It went up to 50.
That's cool. Wow. I'm well jealous.
People like having something in the background that they can have to keep them company.
This is it, Salty.
OBG70 was playing Halo, and he didn't even know what the hell he was doing, and I had it in the background when I was doing something else. Because it's just peaceful.
I had one of his astronomy streams on, and it was really good to listen to because it's like daytime for me, so it's cool.
Yeah, Nerdtorial is the one that inspired me to do my streams with my son, so we're probably going to keep doing those.
Oh yeah,
even after Hale Easton,
even after the Wheel of Time game is killed us all, but we'll probably do something after that because we're just having too much fun. It was funny.
Wait till season 2.
He wouldn't let me. He wouldn't let me finish the stream because he's like, I just want to hang out and chat with everybody. So,
that's sweet, man.
You should have him play Diablo. I would love to watch Easton play the original Diablo. That would be free.
The original, awesome. Okay, that could be
the original.
All right. Yeah. What are you doing to my kid? He's gonna have nightmares.
I haven't played the original Resident Evil.
No, I still have.
Oh
nightmares.
My god! Wow.
Those dogs.
Yeah, those dogs.
We can probably talk for another freaking hour about whatever.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know.
It's great.
We
I
should,
love
someone
it.
should just start another stream on their channel, and we can keep talking about
To
random
just
geek
move
stuff.
it over.
Yeah, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it with me. I mean, there's other projects down the line that I'm going to do that I'll bring up shortly. And other than that, everybody have a great rest of your night. Once again, everybody, thanks a lot. Chat, panel, you guys are amazing. So
Great comments tonight. Great
Yes,
comments.
great
Yeah.
comments, and I hope you guys I hope we can continue to find some great entertainment out there.
Me too.
So other than that, everybody, may the wings of Nerdporials carry you to happiness.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
Night.